What's up, guys? Iván Carranza here, and welcome to Coffee with Iván. Today's episode features the one and only Jayme Lewis. Jayme is a bass player from California who currently lives in Las Vegas. Jayme is the host of the Bassist podcast and also runs his own YouTube channel called The Bassist. He also has his own lessons website called thebassist.net. I've been following Jayme for the past maybe 7 or 8 years, and I remember because I transcribed one of his bass solos out of his debut album called When Will Then Be Now on my first year of music school, actually, and that was the tune Set a GIF, and it's kind of like a jazz, fusion, rock kind of song. And it was a lot of fun to transcribe, and I sent it to him on Twitter back then, and he replied, and I was freaking out. In this episode, we had an interesting conversation about the value of music, the current state of the music industry, streaming, and how musicians and artists are going to have to adapt in the next few years. You can check out Jayme's work on YouTube at The Bassist. You can check Jayme on Instagram at Jayme Lewis, and also his website called thebassist.net, as well as the Bassist podcast on Spotify. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you guys in a bit.
I started doing live streams like every day on my YouTube channel, and without fail, something would go wrong. And I've got this, you can't see it, but it's right next to me. There's this like 55-inch iPad. It's a huge touchscreen TV that I made. And I just unplugged the HDMI cable, right? So it's just a display. I unplugged it and then everything started working. I was like, wait a minute, that's not possible. That can't be responsible for the computer slowing down. I plugged the monitor back in and then the computer starts freaking out. I'm like, no. Everything I know about electronics says this is not possible. This is not controlling that. How in the world? And yet it does. You're like, flip on a lamp. How did that make the sound go away? I don't know, but I don't care. It's working now. So let's keep going. Sorry, I derailed the conversation. I'll probably do that 1,000 times.
Don't worry. It's all good. I keep it like you are completely unedited. If something goes somewhere, that it just goes there.
Nice. I much prefer that.
Yeah.
It's funny. A lot of times I'll get guests and they'll say like, hey, yeah, I'm really excited to do the interview. And I'm like, you didn't listen to any of them, did you? You're going to be surprised. But I mean, it always ends up being enjoyable. They expect like a 20-minute, 30-minute, hey, what kind of strings do you use? Why do you play the bass? And then 3 hours later, we're laughing and having a blast. And like, oh, shit, it's been that much time already? Oh, I'm sorry, by the way, am I not supposed to curse?
You go. I
okay.
As much as you want, man.
They slip out every once in a while. I'll keep a lid on it.
No. I mean, feel free. I don't feel like how do you say this, to censor anyone. I also curse all the time. So.
All right. Yeah, we're all sailors. That's brilliant. Yeah.
So good.
You know what kind of? Sorry, what's that hanging on the side of you over there? Is that your overhead?
Yeah.
Is that your microphone?
Yeah.
Nice. You don't like having it in frame with you?
The thing is, it's a small diaphragm condenser. So if I put it here,
you get that proximity effect. Yeah.
I want to get an SM7B like you do.
These are great microphones.
Amazing.
Yeah, they do a good job of rejecting anything that's not right in front of it. So like the closer you get, well, I'm compressing and doing a lot to it, but like you just hear a lot less of the room the closer you get to it.
Yeah.
This one in the Electro Voice RE20. You'll see that on the table of like David Letterman or who's on the shows now, Jimmy Fallon, whoever it is. You'll always see an RE20. It's like their backup. But that and the SM7, very common broadcast mics.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
I talked to Kyle Conkeal of Bad Wolves. He had one, and his voice just was like, the radio voice. And I was like, dude, I need that mic.
Yeah. yeah, the good mics.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll bet these are hard to find right now. A lot of this stuff. I'll bet Elgato, all their capture cards, those are all on back order, have been since March. You know.
Yeah, I got it. It took like 2 weeks to be back in stock. I also check on the Shure SM7Bs, and they're also back ordered at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Everyone is doing online video.
Yeah. Yeah. Good microphones though. I'm all for it. I have 2 of these because like when I would do my podcast, now I'm picking off all these noticing how much dog hair is on it. Like I would always travel to do my show. We only started doing it remotely when I had to. I prefer being in the room with the person, and it's a more enjoyable show for me that way. But then we couldn't do video, and you're in Germany, I'm in Las Vegas. This obviously wouldn't be happening. So it's definitely a better show. But so I've got quite a few of these lying around because I needed them at one point. Now they're just collecting dust. I just got the one.
Yeah, I mean, sounds great. I would also rather do things in person. But I mean, it's not possible right now, especially since we're in US and I'm in Germany.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even know what the travel laws are right now. I stopped paying attention. Are we leaving the countries yet or no? Are we all still staying?
I think I'm not allowed.
You're not allowed to leave Germany?
I mean, I can, but I mean, people from Europe, or at least Germany, they can't go to US as far as I know.
The US is closed. Yeah. I don't know. I like I said, I lost track. I stopped paying attention. Like at one point, I was tuning into the news every day, and then every other day, and now it's like once a week. I'm like, is it still? Yeah, it's still shitty. All right. All right, call me when it's over. It's not getting better. I take that back. No, it is getting better. A lot of things are getting better. You got to keep that in mind too.
I mean, I don't know how it is in the US right now at the moment, but I mean, here in Germany, it's, I would say, pretty much normal. Not 100%, but I mean, you can go pretty everywhere. And
it's the same out here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Los Angeles is different. I've gone back to LA maybe 4 or 5 times, maybe more than that. Since all the locking down. California is different because California never reopened. Everywhere like locked down initially for a month or 6 weeks or whatever. But here in the US, different states started to kind of open back up a little bit. California has been consistently closed since mid-March. Okay. There was one weekend where the restaurants were like allowed, like, hey, go back. And then like they had an uptick and they're like, nope, shut that shit down. So California really never reopened. So it is, every time I go back there, it's way more strict. There's fear in people's eyes. I don't see any of that here. You know, if I were to open my window and look outside, I just went for a run. Yeah. Right. I'm running around the lake. There's people walking their dogs. Kids playing in the park. They're socially distancing and, you know, being safe, but nobody's terrified that an invisible monster is going to kill them at any moment. But there are definitely places here in the U.S. where that is the, I don't want to say opinion, because it's also true. You know, it is also a very real reality for a very select few. Yeah. So we also have to keep that in mind too. You know?
And, I mean, I come from Peru, right? And right
That's
now,
right. Yeah. You know Noel.
Yeah,
you know Noel.
He was
Maramio.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot. Man, we have that connection. I gotta hit him up. I want to get him on with that.
Yeah, sorry. Do it. Definitely for your show.
I'm gonna send him a message. Well, you too. Come on. I'm sure he would say yes.
Yeah. I wanted to.
Or have you already got him on?
No, but I'm going to definitely message him. But it's funny because I remember reading, I think you made a comment or shared a story of him on Instagram. I don't remember what it was. And I was like, how do they know each other? It's like,
so what? He and I don't know if I ever I went to one of Victor Wooten's base and nature camps in Nashville, Tennessee in the year 2004. I was 16, 17. Like, I think I just turned 17. And Noel and I had, we bunked together. They, had different cabins, and him and me, I think this guy named Jacques, one of Victor's old schoolmates named Jacques. I don't remember his last name. But yeah, so the three of us we were bunk buddies for an entire week. Yes, we got to know each other pretty good. His boy hadn't been born yet, Franco, I think. Is that his name?
Yeah, Franco. Yeah, I think so.
Franco. Yeah, they'd just gotten the news months before he left that they were pregnant. So like that's how long ago.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So that kid's got to be like 16 now?
I think so. Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, dang. Wow.
Yeah.
Time flies, dude. But yeah, so that's why I know Noel. We spent a week together, and then it's just been internet friends ever since, because I haven't been to Peru, and I don't think he's been back to the States since then.
I think he has family there in Florida. I think he's traveled a couple of times there, but not to California.
I'm on the West Coast. Yeah. I always forget how big the states are. It's like, oh yeah, they don't come to the States often. keep in mind, the distance from Florida to me is the same as like from you to China, maybe. There's a lot of land in between us. So, yeah.
You moved recently to Las Vegas, right?
I did, back in January. Yeah. My last gig was Christmas Eve, and we packed up our house the next day and then drove to Vegas New Year's Day. Yeah. January 1st.
And why did you move from California up there?
It's a very boring reason. Do you really want me to get into it? I will. It's nothing personal. It's a lot cheaper in here. Mm-hmm. California is one of the most expensive places to live in the United States, maybe in the world. I don't know. But the real estate is just absurd. You don't get a house like a $200,000, $300,000 house that doesn't exist in Southern California. It does, but someone's been murdered there. There's no roof, and 3 of the walls are missing. Like, they burnt up. Like, that's the kind of house you get for $300,000. Like, that sounds fucking ridiculous when you say it anywhere else. But in California, it's like, yeah, $500,000 plus. That's a beginner house. That's a starter house. $400,000. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know? And then the other thing is that the jobs, like New York has ridiculous prices. There's a lot, Silicon Valley, there's a lot of places that are expensive to live. And there's big jobs that pay a lot of money so people can afford it. The people in Southern California, man, we can't. There's no Wall Street. You know what I mean? There's not gigs. It's not a good music town, really, unless you're doing TV and film. I mean, that's probably the reason for the inflation, the inflated rates. But anyways, anyone who lives in Southern California, they just know, like, oh yeah, you lose like all of your money because it's beautiful. The beach is right there and the weather's perfect and it's sunny every day. So, I mean, it has a lot going for it, but it's expensive. So I'm born and raised there. I lived there for 33 years and we decided that's enough.
Yeah.
We're done with it. So Las Vegas, it's about 35-40% cheaper all around.
Wow.
Housing, just daily cost of living, gas, food, electricity, water, everything we just took, which like right now has just been a huge blessing to us, really, because if we were still in California, we'd be screwed. I'd have lost the house by this point, because I would have no work. My wife would have no work, and we'd have $7,000 a month in overhead. Like, we're done. I mean, how many months can you bleed $7,000? Whereas over here, everything's cut down, and we did a lot of saving last year too. So, we're bleeding a couple $100 a month is all we're in the hole, and so that's much more manageable than thousands of dollars. So really, it's just a money thing,
By the way, about money, I remember you mentioned a book that you used many years ago that kind of like saved you from, just not being broke. The David Ramsey one, I think it was.
Yeah, Dave Ramsey. I'm a big Dave Ramsey fan.
Got to hear him reading it through. It's pretty
nice.
Yeah, so thank you for that.
Oh, that's cool, man. Yeah, honestly, that was one of the catalysts for me, like, getting my shit together. He's a conservative financial, I want to say guru. He's got a radio show here in the States. I think it's like number 2 or 3. Rush Limbaugh is number 1. But so he just teaches like really practical finances. I don't have any credit cards. My credit score is probably 0. We just don't have any debt, which right now is fantastic because I have friends who their $300 car payment didn't stop when COVID hit and their income went away. So debt's pretty fucking stupid. It's a terrible thing, and the more you can avoid it, the more money you get to keep. It's pretty much. I mean, that's it's very straightforward.
Yeah.
And those are kind of along the principles that he teaches. So I started to see traction in our finances. And I was like, shit, let me apply this system to my bass playing. And then my bass playing got way better. I was like, well, okay, let's apply it to fitness. And I dropped a ton of weight. I started looking good and feeling better. And it's very practical, But yeah, those principles are, they could be used in just about anything. It's, I don't know, science pretty much,
Yeah, it's cool when you find something that can, that just is applicable to different areas of your life. Like you mentioned that thing about Victor Wooten, that if you got something that just take the same concepts and apply it to something else.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, he would say, like, people would ask him about his double thumping, and be like, oh man, I just can't get it. And he's like, well, can you play with the guitar pick? All right, it's the same thing. it's the same thing. Just take your thumb and stick it out about that much. like just move it by 1 inch and now do the same exact motion and you're doing it. So to learn a new thing, like, yeah, I got to start from scratch. But if you can start the process 50 or 60% of the way in, like, yeah, you're giving yourself a huge head start. And that's Victor. I mean, I've known him for years. He probably doesn't know me as well as I know him. Because I mean, there are thousands of people like me who went to his camp and spent time with him. But I mean, I know enough about him that he's very, very much about not really mind over matter, but it starts upstairs. It starts in the brain. And the more you can conquer whatever it is, if it's fear or I don't know, anything at all, the more you can conquer it in your brain and then get your body to do what you're trying to get it to do, you're going to have a much easier time than if you're starting from square one and looking at the top of a mountain going, man, it's a long way to the top. Well, if you could start halfway and be like, oh shit, look at how far I got already. Oh, there's not that much more to go. You're going to be much more successful that way. You know? So yeah, I try to apply that to everything: money, business, finance, health, fitness, music, relationships. I mean, anything.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, definitely. Speaking about like
smart dude.
Starting from like, ground zero and then building up to something. I know, as you also know, right now there's probably, and there will be more people trying to build their production studio at home to be able to do stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I've spent a lot of time on the phone since March, April, May, June, July, August. It's September now. 6 months almost. People calling up, hey, what's an OBS? What is that? What is how do I what is Twitch thing? Live streaming. Should I use Pro Tools? Is GarageBand okay? Like, yeah, a lot of people are trying to get into this. Not trying to. I mean, they don't have another option.
Yeah.
The stage literally went away. The tour has disappeared. So what else are you going to do?
Yeah. What would you recommend to those people that are starting out? What should they focus on to be able to either stay here for a long ride or just, at least make it past this and then figure things out? But where can they start?
Oh, man, that is a good question. Honestly, I think too often people get caught up with this stuff. And I'll show you what I mean. They'll be like, hey, I don't have my cameras on. Dang it. I was going to show you, I've got like 5 or 6 different angles, but none of those. All right, the drum set I didn't turn that off last night. All right, the drum camera's still on, but I've got like 4 different angles in here. Sorry, let me get back to where I am. I've got different cameras. This one's on a slider and it moves back and forth. I got the green screen shit. And like, man, how are you doing that? What do I got to buy? And it's like, do you have a phone? All right, use that. You have a second phone? Cool, there's your second angle. Like, use what you have. I don't recommend going and buying things to start doing something. Mm-hmm. Use what you have. Master it, and then you'll see what kinds of things you're missing, and then you'll go out and you'll know what to get. Versus if I tell you, go get these isotope plugins and this and that and that, you're not going to know how to use it.
Yeah,
because you didn't put in the footwork to figure out what you needed. So you're really doing yourself a disservice if you're trying to start way up here. And I just got done saying like, you should start halfway. That's more of an attitude thing. I'm just literally saying like, whatever you have on you, use that first to build the best that you can with it. And then when you realize, I keep hitting this wall, I can't do the show I want to do, or I can't play the way I want to play because the audio sucks or the video sucks, right? I need that second angle. Okay, cool. Now you know to go buy.
Yeah.
You know what's missing. When people get into mixing, like mixing music, right? I tell them, just use the stock plugins. They're great. They're better than great. They're better than anything that's ever existed before it. Those stock Logic, Pro Tools, EQ plugins, they can do anything. Learn how to use that. And the stock compressor, they have no sound, no coloration. But if you learn how to manipulate those really well, when I hand you a Neve 1073, you're going to get the sound you want really fast because you know how to engineer, and you're going to hear, whoa, this brings like a dark, like, I can't explain it, like a milky low end that's not there. Like, yeah, that's what the Neve sound is. I couldn't explain that to you before, but you heard it. Yeah. You heard it because you know how to get that sound without it. And now that plug-in or that pedal, whatever that thing, it got you there in a fraction of the time. Now you know the importance of good hardware. You know what I mean? And then maybe you might want to buy one, or someone else might have said, oh, buy this API 312, and you just bought it because they said so, but that doesn't do what the Neve does. That gives you a mid-range honky punch, and maybe you want that big, low, creamy Neve sound. You know what I mean? So like, experience is the best teacher. So I think if you're trying to stream, you're trying to mix, if you're trying to, like whatever it is, use what you've got, push it to the farthest limits you possibly can with the free stuff or just what you have. And then, you know, from there, kind of see what's missing, and you'll have a much clearer trajectory, you know, and you'll get there much faster, I think. You know, and plus you'll have put in the work to get there, which is the most important part. Because you hand me a Stradivarius, hand me you know, millions of dollars, and like it doesn't matter. I don't play the violin. You can hand me the nicest one in the world, it's still not going to sound good.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, definitely. And also, in my opinion, also aside from hardware, you know, cameras or preamps or interfaces and all that, it's also the aspect and the hours put into recording yourself, the performance aspect while recording yourself.
Yeah.
Also, how many days you need to record what you need to have on video and to feel comfortable hitting that record button. And also, if you're talking to a camera, I don't know about you, but I mean, I speak also in a foreign language all the time, but getting comfortable.
Your English is fantastic.
Thanks.
Excellent. Much better than my Spanish. Is that what they speak in Peru? Yeah. I know it's not Portuguese.
No, it's Spanish, yeah.
Just Brazil on that one, right?
Yeah, Brazil only. But just being comfortable speaking to an inanimate object, you know, the camera all the time, and, you know, making coherent sentences, that also takes practice.
Yeah. What I tell, actually, you know what? Hold on. Okay. So specifically, if you want to do videos, all right, live streaming, that's a totally different thing. But if you want to get into making videos, here's what I tell everybody is make one video. Here's what I did. I made like 10. I was like, oh, Yannick Wisdala inspired me almost 10 years ago. He was doing video-based lessons.tv. I was a teacher my whole life. And I was like, yeah, I'll do video lessons. So I did 10 of them. And then I went to edit the first one. I went, oh no, because I said like and every other word. And I 10 hours of work, I threw it all away. And I had to start over, because that's what you need to do. You need to do one video, script it or whatever your process is, record it, edit it, like finish one video and then throw it away. Throw that one away, start the process over, like even re-record the same thing, but you'll do it better, you'll do it faster, and you'll realize, oh, I say every time. I do this, what is my hand doing? I keep like waving it, I keep moving it around. What are my hands doing? You'll notice those things once you've edited your first video, and then you won't do them anymore. If you do what I did, you'll put in 10 hours of doing all the wrong things, and then you'll end up throwing it away anyways. So that's what I would say. You want to do a podcast, you want to do a video, YouTube channel, whatever the thing is, do one of them, toss it, you'll learn all the wrong things, and you'll hate yourself. It's okay. Take a day off and get back into it. I think that's the best advice I can give. Yeah. That's for sure.
Yeah, I agree 100%. 100%. I also made a mistake a couple of times, like you mentioned, like I got a couple of videos and then noticed that was trash, man. And I just delete, do it again. But next time
it's the same as when you wrote your first song. You know, when you went like junior high or high school, whenever you wrote your first song, if you look back at it now, and even at the time, you're like, this is dog shit. This is not a good song, right? I wrote it, but that doesn't make it good. Your second one, probably a little better. Third, like the more you do it, you get the feel for it. But it's pretty brutal in the beginning. And then that's the other thing too. Go easy on yourself. And Rome wasn't built in a day. All the normal things, which can kind of be disheartening as like if you're a musician that's been playing for a long time, and you're like, the playing is there, the music is there. It's just I talk like a robot, or I have no personality, or I don't know. Whatever it is that you think is lacking in the content that you're watching, you're going to see it, and there are things that you're not used to because you didn't practice. Like I practiced 10 hours a day in college on the bass. Yeah, I spent no time on camera. I'm not an actor. I don't know how to deliver lines, and it's a different skill. It's something that you're probably not going to have naturally, but let as much of your personality come through. I think that's, I can say this coming from teaching, is a lot of my friends who are now, since March, releasing lesson videos and stuff. Fantastic players, but the way that they talk on camera. Okay, so today what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to play a G major. We'll do that next. A G major pentatonic, and it goes like this. Okay, next what we're like. They have no. There's no personality. There's no sale. There's nothing to latch onto. Why would I watch that when I can watch Scott Devine, who has personality and even has an English accent? We Americans were suckers for that too, you know? So like, I've got monsters behind me. That might freak some people out, but some people are going to look at that and be like, this guy's kind of cool. I like monsters. Yeah. Whatever it is, let them see you. Be authentic. I think that's my best compliment is when people, two things. They either say they listen to the podcast, I just assume nobody's listening. Because I don't interact with the statistics or anything at all. But when I get a message, someone's like, oh, I've been listening for years, or I really like this episode. Like that really, really does mean a lot to me. But the best compliment I can get is when people say, I feel like I actually know you. Like you're not pretending to be someone on screen. This seems like this is genuinely who you are. And I think that shows over anything. That shows over your chops. That shows over your command over the subject matter. If you're likable and they can relate to you, that's the best thing. But you're only going to get that by being yourself. Because I'm not an actor. If I was an actor, I could pretend I'm Chris Pratt, and you would like me, because of whatever. But I be yourself and allow your personality and just be you. Do things the way that you want to do them, and that's what's going to make you different from someone else.
Yeah. I think also on that last point, like I think there might be some people that could ask themselves, okay, how can I be, or how can I make my videos more like, say Jayme Lewis, right? And maybe they can look up to you or Scott Devine or whoever it is for the production aspect or the structure of the lessons.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, like you said, the personality has to get the audience, because they can't be you or they can't be Scott Devine or whoever it is.
Right. Yeah. Well, and if you think about it, this applies to music, but nothing's changed. Right. I'm not saying that my lessons are the same as Scott's or the same as Yannick's, or I just had Derek Bennett on last week. We all teach the bass guitar, but we're all teaching the same information. The rules haven't changed. Treatise de Harmonique was written, I don't know, 400 years ago or something like that. And music theory and genres and different things have evolved, but it's the same shit. It's 12 notes.
Yeah.
7 are allowed in the song, and the other 5 we ignore unless you play jazz. Like the rules haven't changed. It's the same stuff. It's just the way that you communicate it. And I have a very specific way of communicating information. So does Yannick, so does Scott. And if you like the way I talk and you don't like the way they talk, well, I'm going to be the best option for you. But the information's pretty much identical. Yeah. Assuming you're talking about someone who knows what they're doing, But it's the way that it's communicated, and so that's why I don't look at any of those people as competitors, enemies. I mean, we're not competing with each other, because the way I look at it, I'm competing with Scott, but also that funny cat video and the monkey who sticks his finger in his butt and smells it and then falls off the tree. Like we're in competition with everything, not just bass players. Yeah. So throw competition out the window. There's no need for animosity or anything. Do your thing, and if people like it, they'll latch onto it. And if you're being yourself, they're gonna latch on. Some people are, and the ones who don't, they'll let you know in the comments about how much they hate you, and that's fine. Fuck them. I'm just what's the word? Like I'm just whittling away, getting rid of the pieces that I don't need to have.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
there's plenty out there for everyone.
Yeah, definitely. It's more like the like you said, the competition is, let's say, competition in quotes, the attention span of the people.
Right. Yeah, that's the competition.
Against the massive amounts of content that are on the internet, right? Among bass players, because I totally agree with you. Like the way a teacher teaches, the method, the personality, how they structure sentences to make the student learn, that varies from person to person. Someone might resonate with you, someone might resonate with someone else, and that can help them learn.
Well, let me give you an example. So at this base camp in 2004, where I met Noel and Victor Wooten and Stanley Clark, Bob Babbitt, and so many names, I can't like when I think back to that time and how many people I met. It's absurd. It's absurd the amount of friends that Victor Wooten has. he's in a really cool place. Let me say that. But so I was in a class with Anthony Wellington. I'm sure you know him, but anyone else? He was Victor Wooten's bass player in the Victor Wooten band, like from 2004 to 10, I think, or something like that. Which is funny when you say the bass player in Victor Wooten's band. Anyone who doesn't know, they go, Victor Wooten has a bass player? Why does he need one? You have to go see the show. It's amazing. But so he was teaching this class, and up until this point, I'm 16 years old. I've never practiced before. Been playing music my whole life, but like I just play music. I figure it out by ear. I play songs. I jam. I write, but I don't practice. I didn't know what that was. You know, Anthony is talking about practicing and how important it is. I'm like, yeah, I don't really know what you mean. And he goes, here's how you know if you're practicing. At the end of your session, if you go, man, I suck. Good job. You practiced. Like when you go to the gym, if you come out and you're covered in sweat and your arms hurt the next day and you're like, oh my God, I can't do this anymore. You worked out. Yeah. That was a good workout, right? But if you leave the gym and you're no pit stains and you're like, well, that was pretty easy. I could probably do 10 more of those. You didn't work out. You didn't do anything. You didn't get any better. Guarantee you would have burnt more calories sitting on the couch eating potato chips, watching TV. That probably would have been a better use of your time than whatever you just did. You know, so practice, you need to grind. It needs to hurt. If you end your practice session, you go, man, that sounds great. You didn't practice, you rehearsed. Rehearsal's important too, but it's not the same thing. You know? So, and then the way he talked about practice, he was giving me these exercises like, okay, so if we take, just dexterity exercises chromatically and go 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So if I'm starting on finger 1, I could create 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 4, 3, or 1, 3, 2, 4, or 1, 3, 4, 2, or 1, 4, 3, 2, or 1, 4, 2, 3. It's just like you can just play these simple patterns on all 4 strings, and that's just starting with your first finger. He was mathematically creating exercises. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, yeah, there's a systematic way, because my brain is a mathematical science one. For a musician, whichever hemisphere it is it the left brain or the right brain?
I'm not sure.
Whichever one is creativity, I'm the opposite. for being in a creative profession, I like to put things in a box, file it away, and then call upon it when I need it. And that's the way Anthony's brain works. So I latched onto that, and everything I do, if you've seen any of my videos, it's like, here's the mechanism. Okay, so the formula is, and then apply this a formula elsewhere. That's Anthony. That comes straight from Anthony Wellington. You know, because that's the way he does it. But Victor is not that way. As I was just talking, Victor's like, okay, so imagine, right? Take your thumb and now it's like a pick. Okay, so if you're in the woods, you know what I mean? Like he's going to give you this, he's going to take you on a journey. He's going to give you a story, a picture. And at the end, you're going to be like, I can do this, but you haven't even done it yet. Yeah. You know, that's how Victor teaches. Anthony, totally different. Reggie, totally different. And that's, again, the information is kind of all the same. Yeah. It hasn't changed, but the way that it gets delivered, that's what, that's what makes the difference. So, I think anyone who wants to get into teaching and that kind of stuff, and they're looking at the online landscape, like, man, there's so many out there. Why should I, or why would I? Because your voice, your personality, and your way of doing it isn't represented yet. It's not because you're not doing it. You know what I mean? So, what's holding you back, really? Chances are it's you. Chances are it's something you're afraid of. Yeah. And that's okay, too. Get out there. What's the worst that can happen?
Definitely. That's 2 things. That exercise you mentioned, Anthony Wellington do. Noel did that while I was taking lessons with him.
Nice. I'll bet you I know where Noel got it. Yeah.
It's 24 permutations in total or something like that.
I guess so. Yeah. If you're only using these 4 fingers, if you want to get into thumb position, then you would have these 4. I don't know. But yeah, pretty much.
He showed me that. And for anyone listening right now, Noel, if you keep hearing that name, that's Noel Marambio, my former bass teacher in Peru. A killer guy, amazing bass
player in Zen.
Yeah.
Woo! That was the best. I didn't know. So that whole time, the internet wasn't really out yet. You got to keep in mind, 2004. I remember Victor had an iPhone. Victor and everyone on his team had iPhones. The rest of us had flip phones.
Yeah.
Like that's the time period, right? So no one had internet and email at every time of the day. So I'm hanging out in the middle of nowhere with a bunch of people. Nick Shingelis is there. Ariana Kapp is there. Damian Erskine was there the year before. Like we're the campers, you know what I mean? But I don't know who anyone is until I go home and we're friends on MySpace. That's again how long ago. And then I see Noel. He's playing in front of stadiums with thousands of people, tens of thousands of people. I'm like, holy shit, who is this guy? Yeah, Noel, it was a much bigger deal apparently, but such a sweetheart. Good man.
Amazing. Yeah. The other thing was that I heard you mention this somewhere recently also, that if you have the desire to, I don't know, to make a podcast or a YouTube channel or something, probably the reason why you're doing it is yourself. You should just go ahead, just do it. You can take the feedback and just improve later, but just take that step, put the foot in the door and make something. Be creative, just put things out there. And I gotta say also, like on air, you for me are a big inspiration. Like I mentioned to you on DM, you made it
thanks, man.
My thesis because
I saw that. Yeah, that's awesome.
That's my master's thesis because I remember being in a workshop by Yannick as well. He came to where I did my bachelor's degree, and he had just released the book "You're a Musician, Now What?"
Now what? Yep.
Yeah, and
that was a game changer for me.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning that you read that also, and then you wanted to do a whole video thing. So I was like, I'm gonna pay attention to these two guys because they are killing it. So,
Yannick is definitely killing it. Yeah, he I'm fascinated by people who build their own empires. So you were talking about Dave Ramsey. Yeah, he's got a radio show, books, an entire brand that's around, teaching people how to do their finances. But like, I feel the same way about Seth MacFarlane. Wait, shit, which one? Seth Green, Seth MacFarlane, Seth Rogen. I get them all mixed up, but I know who they are. The dude who, Family Guy, American Dad, all those shows on Fox, like, same thing. He can do anything he wants. He just calls Fox, be like, hey, I got an idea for a show. It's about, yeah, sure, you got it, take it. I'm a huge fan of people who build their own empires, doing what they want to do, doing what they're good at. And yeah, Yannick is for sure. He was the first one. No. Victor Wooten did the same, obviously, right? He's got now he's at Berkeley, but he has his base nature camps and his music and everything that he does. The dude's a machine, really. But that, for me, that's what speaks out, is people who build their own empires based on what they're passionate about. And again, Victor, he's in Nashville and he's busy all the time. Yannick was in LA where I lived, and I could go see him at the Baked Potato on a Tuesday night. You know what I mean? So I kind of jumped from the Victor boat to the Yannick boat maybe around the time that book came out, 2011, 12, whatever, that time that you're talking about. Because like I could see, ooh, this dude is looking at the future of YouTube and all this stuff, and he's right here. Like I can go see him sometimes.
Yeah.
I could watch him actually doing this stuff in person and not just watch it from afar from a YouTube video weeks after it happens, But yeah, so he's just always been not one step ahead, several steps ahead, business-wise, music-wise even. Yeah, very impressed.
Yeah. One thing that I get a lot from him, other than because he has monster bass chip, an amazing musician, just the work ethic, just the hours of putting in work.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm like, I don't know, I'm tired, I don't want to do something, it's like, no, gotta do it.
And that's, and that what I love about those people who build their own empires is they all have that in common. They all have no shortage of elbow grease. They will burn the midnight. I mean, Elon Musk, another name, right? But he does it with 20 different companies that he's starting. He wants to go to the moon. He wants to go to Mars. He wants to dig tunnels under LA. And he wants to, it's ridiculous. Yeah. But like he was sleeping on the floor, on the shop at Tesla, like right before launch, like I think weeks before, because they had to make cars and he had to be there. And he was there 24 hours for days and days on end. Because that's what you do. That's what has to be done sometimes is you grind and you grind and you grind and you grind and you grind, and hopefully there's payoff. And that takes a special kind of person for sure, because you don't know if there's going to be payoff. You're spending weeks putting these 20 lessons or videos or whatever it is, but you don't know how it's going to be received, especially if you haven't started yet. Who's going to watch these? Who's going to buy them? But we won't find out until it's out there.
Yeah.
And that scares some people off. But those of us, again, who like to build our empires, that's just fuel for the fire. Like, yeah, maybe no one's going to like this. I was just laughing. What I've been doing on Twitch is I've been just doing like song requests. I call it the things that will get you fired show, because basically 99% of the time it's a song I've never heard in my life, right? So I'm just playing anything I can, and I'm playing over the top because it's Twitch and it's got to be high energy, exciting. So I'm just doing everything you shouldn't do on a 4-chord song, just because I have to do something. I've got 4 hours to go. Got to keep you entertained in some way. Shit, why did I bring that up? Hold on, I was going somewhere with that. Twitch, back me up 1 second. What was I talking about? Help me out here.
Yeah.
We have to retrace my steps. We were talking about Yannick.
Yeah. Oh man, you already lost me. I was following you.
I know. I was following myself, and then I got lost in it. Song requests. Hold on. Damn it.
Put in the work, maybe doing extra stuff.
Yeah. We were talking about putting in the work. Yeah. How did I get onto Twitch though? Damn it. It was probably, it'll come back later. Let's not worry about it.
Okay, about that, you played songs on the top of your head on the spot and song requests and all that. I heard you also talking lately about the way you teach music for students, more like it's a language, because you also have a great ear and you had to develop for example, the reading chops later, right?
Yes. I didn't learn how to read music or music theory until I was 17, 18, whenever it's like my second year of college.
Yeah. For me, and this is something I 100% regret. I started playing when I was 14, maybe 15, something. I'm 27 now. Because there were no bass players and people wanted to form a band with my friends. I had to catch up and learn stuff quickly. So they handed me tabs, right? Okay, to learn stuff.
Tablature. Yeah.
And because I was thinking numbers, I was not using my ears. So putting them up to a level to be able to learn songs by ear has been and is still a challenge for me. So I would definitely encourage people to get that training early on, because nowadays when I get a gig or asked to play somewhere, I rarely get a sheet of music. It's more like
I never have. I never have. Yeah. If it is, it's mine and I make it.
Yeah.
So yeah, just about always. Yeah, dude, except for orchestral work, back when I was still playing classical music in like in an orchestra, never ever have I gotten sheet music for a gig. If they do give you, it's a chart, like a chord chart with like lyrics and a chord symbol on top, but never staff notation of any sort.
Pretty much, yeah. Maybe if you do like theater gigs, like musicals or stuff like that.
Musicals would be a different thing, yeah. Orchestral, big band. But like I said, I never got those gigs. I never went into that stuff. I mean, I did it in college and I loved it. But I didn't get that work. That was the other thing too, is like as we're talking about YouTube videos or live streaming, or like, what's good advice if you're trying to get into this stuff? Don't have too solid of a concept in the beginning. Allow the path to kind of determine itself for you to an extent. So like right now on Twitch, I'm doing song requests, I'm doing Q&A, but I don't really know what I'm going to do with my Twitch channel. I'm just throwing things out there and seeing what sticks. And when 1,000 people go, that was awesome, like, let's do that. You know what I mean? Kind of let the work decide for you where it should go. Because a lot of times it's like, this is what I'm going to do. This is how it goes. This is how it should be. And you got your head down on it and you're missing all of this over here that people are like, yeah, do that instead. But you're too busy going, no, it has to go this way. So yeah, I think keeping a really open perspective on where things can go. I mean, that is going to make things a lot happier, and you'll be a lot happy that way too.
Yeah.
But it'll definitely make it easier, you know?
I think overall, like being open just to, first of all, criticism, constructive criticism, of course, but just suggestions and like you mentioned, like reading your audience. If they're screaming, okay, do this kind of content, and you're like, no, tunnel vision,
Right.
we're that far.
Mm-hmm. Well, and also, I don't know. Some people ask me to do gear stuff. I don't like doing gear stuff, so I rarely ever do it. I would probably do better online. I would probably make more money, and I'd probably get more views if I did more pedal demos. But that's the least exciting thing for me I could. I mean, if I'm going to do that, I might as well go to the bank, get a job at the grocery store, or like anything else. If I'm just doing something for the money, so I think there's also yes, listen to your audience and go where things are leading you. But don't ever do it just because of that or just because of the money. I think at the root of it, you need to enjoy it. It's just like, why did you start playing music? The paycheck was not, when you were 14, you didn't say, I started playing when I was 14 because someone offered me a gig. The money was pretty good. And so, I started playing bass. Like nobody has that story. You started because it was fun, because you love it, or you heard a sound and you went, whoa, what is that? I need more of that, Probably that's what happened. So whatever you're doing, it needs to be the same way. If you're like, oh, this YouTube thing, money, let's go do it. You're not going to enjoy it. I can almost guarantee, because the money's not good. Not for a lot of years, probably, especially in bass, But yeah, I learned a long time ago that the paycheck isn't the deciding factor. I don't do anything for the money anymore. I did at one point. And then I did a lot of things that made me really angry, that I lost a lot of sleep and maybe years of my life on. And now I know that, there's some things that even if the paycheck is great, you say no to it because it's just, why? It's going to make you unhappy. So
yeah,
that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Who would do that to themselves? Musicians.
Yeah, I think I remember it being reading Facebook comments on Instagram posts at the beginning of the lockdown about people sharing their profiles on YouTube or the channels to hit the 1,000 subscribers to monetize quickly. And that's not how it works,
Yeah.
And if you monetize your channel, you're not gonna get bank from that tomorrow.
Nope.
It just won't happen.
It's a slow build. Yeah. There's no cutting corners. There's no cheating. But I mean, yeah, there are things that go viral. It's kind of like winning the lottery. Well, someone's got to win it. In theory, I guess so. Yeah, somebody has to win. It's just not going to be you. The laws of physics and everything we know about statistics tells you that you are not going to win the lottery. Somebody is. It's just not going to be you. I can almost guarantee that.
Probably.
But we try to convince ourselves that shit all the time.
Quick question, because you mentioned earlier, when are you meeting with Yannick so that I pay attention to the clock?
Oh, there's no. He's actually starting a Twitch stream right now, and we just kind of tentatively said like, oh yeah, call me up afterwards, and we'll make it happen. Yeah. So yeah, don't worry about it.
Okay, just let me know if you need to go. So that's all good.
Yeah, no problem. He's been going. I've gone to a couple of his streams, and it usually goes for at least an hour, sometimes two. But yeah, we got plenty of time.
Cool, awesome.
I'm not worried.
Cool. I know you are also judging from the video screens behind you on the monster stuff and also your teachers and all that stuff, you're also into video games, right?
You know what? When I was a kid, yes. That was a big part of my childhood. Yeah. I had a Super Nintendo, a PlayStation 2. Like that's what I did. When I was in junior high and high school, I was either skateboarding or playing video games. Music, I played from the age of 3 till, I don't know. Well, let me put it this way. Here's my relationship with music up until high school. It's just something I had to do. You've probably heard me say this before, but for anyone else who's listening, here's how it worked in my family. We did not get allowance. There was no free money. I had to buy everything. So if I wanted a video game, and video games were expensive back then. Mortal Kombat, I paid $80 for that in 1993. was very shitty graphics. It was terrible, but that's how much video games were expensive. And I had to save up I got $5 a week. Yeah, it took me a long time. It was several weeks to be able to afford Mortal Kombat 1 on Super Nintendo, right? But the way that I got my allowance was practice. So my mom gave me $5 a week for 30 minutes of practice Monday through Friday. So if we woke up at 6 a.m., we ate breakfast, we practiced from 6:30 to 7, bus left at 7:15. So music was something I had to do. It was part of my, because my parents are musicians. They just wanted musicians. That's the thing of it. So music was never, I didn't come home from school like, I can't wait to play the piano or the bass or the drums, right? It was just like, I got paid to do it. It was just a thing. And video games and skateboarding, that's what I did for fun. Yeah. So nowadays I don't have the time to play them. I downloaded the new Tony Hawk's Pro Skater demo. Oh shit, what's today? It comes out tomorrow. Yeah. Okay, so I'll definitely be disappearing for a couple of days. I bought, the new Final Fantasy VII remake, and like, there's a couple of games that I'll get into, but I don't have the time for it. I'll play it for 2 days, and then, or to give you an example, it's through my mouse. To give you an example, I bought Doom, whatever the last Doom was when it came out. I'm still on the first level. It's too scary. It's too scary and it's too fast. I just, that's how I know I'm old now. I can't hang with the new video games. Yeah. But yeah, so it means it's a big part of my upbringing. But I'm not a gamer anymore. Just I can't. I would only do that. There would be no music if I was a gamer again. But yeah, when I was 14, that's when like my brothers' friends, and in particular girls, were like, "Oh, you play music? That's cool." And I was like, "This is cool? Shit, yeah, let's do more of that. Fuck video games and skateboard. You guys don't care about any of that, but you like music? All right, what do you want to dance to?" So, yeah, that's when I immediately switched gears. Yeah. Actually, no, you know what it was? It was that in combination with when video games went online. Mm-hmm. I stopped playing video games. Okay, so I didn't have a lot of friends when I was growing up, and in high school, I kind of made friends with a bunch of gamers. We played Dungeons and Dragons together. We played Halo. Halo had just come out, right? So we would do these LAN parties. Everyone else was going to prom. Here's what I did. All the people who didn't go to prom came over to my house. We set up 4 Xboxes. We ordered a bunch of pizzas, and we played video games and just hung out all night long because we were losers. We were the losers. Have you seen The Losers Club? That was me. I was one of the losers, right? So video games was a community, an actual physical community still. Remember, like, if you wanted to play Mario with me, you had to come to my house and physically plug the wired controller into my TV, and you would have to sit next to me and we would talk. So it was still a communal thing. And I remember Halo 2 came out. Me and my friends, we waited till midnight at this one mall. We all get the game and we rush home on our Xboxes. And now all of us, the 16 people who would be at my house, now we're all at 16 different houses playing the same game. And I'm sitting there in the dark with this headset on. And I'm looking around, no one's here. And I'm like, this sucks. It was so much cooler when all my friends were around. But now it's just me in my bedroom in the dark playing by myself. Technically, man, this isn't cool. And I stopped playing video games. I think that's what it was. I don't like the online video game. It killed it for me. Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. It's not the same. It's not the same thing as my LAN party, but pretty damn cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I don't actually right now play anything. You just don't have the time. If I was to buy an Xbox or a PS or something, I would just play that all day, like you mentioned. Like, that's why I don't own one. But I also grew up playing like Mortal Kombat, Final Fantasy. Yeah. I love that shit. The soundtracks are amazing.
Yeah, that was the thing. The games back then had terrible graphics. Yeah. So 2 things had to be phenomenal: the soundtrack and the gameplay.
Yeah.
There was no, like, you can watch a game, just like you can watch a movie and be like, this is a dog shit movie. It just looks incredible because we can CG things and we can do stuff to be like, oh, that looks interesting. Wait, this is a stupid story. Like this, I'm not invested in these characters at all. You can take a bad script and make a killer looking movie out of it. And you could do the same with a video game. But when you were playing something that, go back to NES, something that just did not look good, even at the time. even at the time, you knew that it looked pretty bad. So they had, I mean, like, why are you going to sit here and do this for 8 hours?
Yeah.
Because the gameplay was good, because the songs were incredible, the soundtrack, so technology, I mean, you could say the same thing with music. Now that everyone's a recording engineer, now that anyone can buy Ozone and a couple of plugins and make your mixes sound huge, that doesn't mean it's a good song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the craft of making good music can kind of get covered up by the fact that, like, oh yeah, I can drop in samples and this and that and yeah, look at how good it sounds. It's not a good song though.
Yeah.
You didn't write anything. You just, put a bunch of glitter on it. And yeah, it does look fancy, but there's no meat. There's no nothing to latch onto. And so yeah, I think video games from the 80s and the 90s definitely had that going for it, because we didn't have the power, the resources to do what they're doing now. And I don't know, I'm not slinging shit at all video games, but I've downloaded several that looked incredible, but then after like 30 minutes I was like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
This isn't even fun. It just looks cool.
Yeah. Totally get you. Definitely.
I don't know.
Do you think that, like, right now, like from what you mentioned, that everyone can have their own production studio, and you have Pro Tools and Logic, and you can record as many takes as you want, and also like edit a really fancy take, so make a shitty take into a fancy one.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that the level of musicianship has hurt from that, or is it's a benefit to have that power, so to speak?
I would say yes and no. Here's the thing. Like, I've seen DAWs, recording software, Pro Tools, Logic, Studio One. They're starting to come out with features that make it so you don't even need to know anything at all about music to be producing music, to be producing tracks. So like I'll be flipping through on Instagram. I'm not talking shit right now. I'm calling it like I see it. So I'll be flipping through Instagram, and there'll be a guy that's like, "No, I'm a producer. I got this and that. And I don't know anything about chords or scales, and I use this plugin when I hit this. Like, ooh, look at how you know what I mean? Like, we literally, and I do the same thing with engineering. At one point in time, you had to know how to EQ. Now you could just pull up Isotope RX or Neutron, analyze your audio instead of pulling up a preset, and you're like, oh, well, actually, yeah, that sounds good. I don't need to do anything now. Just like it'll with an algorithm make your vocal sound huge or whatever. So yeah, there are a lot of things that are making it so you don't need to know about engineering anymore. Not really, just the basics, and you don't need to know much about music anymore. You don't even really have to play, because we've got these algorithms. It'll be like, oh, if you're on this chord, these are the 3 you can choose from. All right, that one. So is music suffering from it? No, I don't think so, because no musician. Always be careful when you speak in absolutes. But I don't think that someone like me is going, oh man, that's making my job harder, or that's making things worse. Like, nah, it's just for people who don't have the tools that I have. Now they've got a thing to be able to do something with it. Yeah. How does that hurt me? Other than now there's more people making music that sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's more competition. So if I was trying to get into production music or singles or whatever, yeah, now I'm having to compete with more people than I had to before. None of those are my goals, so I'm not really concerned. And then also, I don't know. Good tunes is good tunes, regardless of how you got there or who wrote it. So I kind of one thing I learned. I forget his name. I think it was Bob Moore. Bob Moore played bass with Elvis, and I think he played with Louis Armstrong too. And he was at Victor Wooten's 40th birthday party, which Noel and I were also both at. Oh. In 2004. Dude, that was a hell of a trip. Now that I think about it, maybe I should write a book about that. But okay. So someone at that week who played in Louis' band said that one thing that Louis Armstrong would say is that good music is anything you can tap your foot to. Right? So in other words, if someone's tapping their foot to dubstep, guess what it is? That's good music. Yeah. Right? If someone's tapping their foot to death metal or Mozart or Baby Shark, guess what it is? it's good music. And if you want to argue with that, you can argue with Louis. If somebody's tapping their foot to it, it must be good music. And if they got there because they hit 3 buttons on a sequencer or they spent months crafting some work, it's what you're into. What's better, blue or red? I don't care if you used Photoshop or an actual oil brush with paint that is made from real chemicals. Like, it doesn't matter. Does it look good? Yeah. All right. It looks good.
Yeah.
You know? So, I don't think the what is it? The ends justify the means? Whatever it is, I don't see it as a problem. It's just opening the door for more people to come in who couldn't do it before because of whatever limitation. And if that's the worst that happens, is there's more competition now and there's more bad music being made. Bad, or just, I just got done saying there's no bad music. But I mean, if there's more just kind of like whatever, mediocre music for the masses or whatever, then I think that leaves room for the cream to rise to the top. For someone who in a world where, we can play to tracks and we can do this, we can do that. And then you see Evan Marion and Dana Hawkins doing what they're doing. And you're like, oh, I get it. Right. I mean, there's Skrillex and there's this, and then there's like, there's people doing that with it. Okay. All right. Right. I see. Some people aren't going to get further than hitting a couple of buttons, but then the real players are going to come in. And that's what excites me. So when I hear about guys like them, Mr. Barrington, what Adam Neely and Sungazer are doing, like when you see people using samples and technology and auto-tuning the news and whatever it is to create giant steps in 13 with, like whatever wacky thing they come up with, it's like, I see now. When the pros get involved, and that's why I'm excited about Twitch right now. I'm sorry, I keep coming back to Twitch, but if you go on and you look at what's happening in music, you'll see a lot of amateurs, and I'm not saying they're bad at it, but what you won't see, Steve Vai's not there, Billy Sheehan's not there, Vinny Calyuta's not there. Like, the professionals haven't showed up to the platform yet. Yannick is there now. We got one. And that's not true. Herman Lee is there, Mike Shinoda. I mean, there are some pros, but they're all on YouTube. They're all on Facebook. There's 15 of them on Twitch, They haven't showed up yet. And when they do, what are they going to do with the platform?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what gets me excited, is when, like, I see what the masses are doing with it, but what happens when Mozart gets in there? What if you gave Mozart Ableton Live? What would he do with it? What would Beethoven do with it? It's exciting. So, like everything, there's upsides and down, plus and minus. It is what it is.
Yeah, definitely. But, for example, when you stream, because I know you stream for also longer periods of time.
Yeah, usually 4, 5, or 6 hours.
Yeah. Do you know, for example, the age of your audience?
Nope. No. They tell me sometimes. Here's the thing: when my YouTube audience is different from the Twitch audience. And the cool thing about Twitch, I've done several live streams. Like, I don't know why I didn't think of this, but I've done several where I'll just like ask. I'm not typing. I'll ask them. They type. I'll be like, "Hey, how many of you here know me from YouTube? How many of you are even bass players or musicians? 3, 4." Will raise their hand. The rest of them are just like regular normies, is what I call them. Normal people. They just saw that, like, oh, any requests? Sure. But this guy will play any song. So I'm sitting there playing, 20 minutes of anime, crazy fusion, whatever. Just anything that they bring me. And they're like, this is so cool. I didn't realize that I had a in my mind, my audience has always been bass players, musicians, and people who want to get better. Catering to people who just like music, I've never written anything for them. None of my music sounds like that. And none of my targeting, none of anything has ever been trying to get them to come over to my side. Because I just assume, I don't know, why would they? When they've got video games or anything else they could choose. But I'm getting more and more people that aren't musicians. They're just coming because they like what I'm doing. And that's what Twitch is. YouTube, I'm not going to find them because... I'm sorry, they're not going to find me. Someone who's on my YouTube channel is a musician, is a bass player, because that's how it's categorized. That's how the algorithm works, and they're just not going to find it. Whereas on Twitch, the title will be bass player will play any song, no song list. That's the big one. Is usually like if you go to a song request channel on Twitch, you hit exclamation point SL for song list, and then it'll spit out however many songs this guy knows how to play or this girl, and you can request one of them and pay them to play a song. On my channel, people will come in, they'll hit that command, and I'll be like, no, anything goes here. There's no, really? Anything? Any song. You're playing funk music right now. Can I request death metal? Like, I mean, I'm not going to do a good job of it, but yeah, you definitely could. So most of I should rethink this because I'm eating shit on that Twitch channel. Like a solid at least 60% of the show. But that's kind of what's cool also is you get to watch me sweat. Mm-hmm. It is funny. But like you get to see, what it's like when I don't know what's happening. How do I react? And is the end result desirable? Sometimes it's great. A lot of times it's not. but you realize you get to see the gears spinning, you know, and some people find that entertaining too. So that's one thing that surprised me on Twitch is that the audience has opened up to anyone who wants to hear a bass player play a song, not just musicians, not just bass players.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's the reason why I think Twitch, I've said this on several podcasts, and that's kind of the majority of what Yannick and I are going to be talking about in a couple hours here. I think Twitch is going to save the music industry. I really do. I think not just music, but entertainers, anyone who did a thing for a crowd, for an audience, I think Twitch is going to save them.
Mm-hmm. That's got just two thoughts right now about that.
Please.
The first one, because I've heard you also mention something like this, like the current value of music
is zero. It's worthless. It's worthless. When I say that, people get like, whoa, I mean, it's not worth, like, well, how much do you pay for it? Zero. You pay $0 for your music. I have Spotify, I have Google Play or Amazon MP3. All right. So you pay $10 for every song ever and every B-side and every single, like you're paying nothing for music, really. If you break it down, how much are you paying per song? Not even a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a penny. That's how much music is worth. Virtually nothing. It is worthless. It is valueless. Mm-hmm. And that's not an opinion. That's just a fact, right? So that's where we're starting from. And now I'm going to try to make money off of it. And I'm sorry. You had two questions, and I cut you off mid first one. But yes, that is not an opinion of mine. That is just where we are. Music has no value. It is worthless. Yes.
And I was having a conversation yesterday, for example, about movies. It relates to the music.
Uh-huh.
So why would someone, after a city reopens, why would they go to a cinema to watch a movie when you can just rent it online and watch Netflix, right? I mean, it's much more comfortable. I get to stay in my
especially after it became the norm for 6 months. Yeah.
But when you stay here at home, right, you're not having the experience of going out and having, I don't know, like a massive sound system around you.
Sure.
I would see that also being applicable to, shows, because, for example, I've watched people done, I don't know, live stream concerts, which I don't really enjoy because they're just performing like they would perform normally.
And that's the problem.
Yeah, exactly. I know what you're gonna say.
That's the problem.
Yeah. And I'm home. I see them their live stream, and I can just be on my phone and having that as background music, and not really be involved in there.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, when I go to a concert or show, it's like to be there in the crowd, sweating, jumping, screaming. But there are no benefits for all the bullshit that you have to do as a musician, as an artist, to do that show. It's just so much extra work.
It's brutal.
Yeah. And I think in the coming months and years, finding a balance with the online, and even if the concerts ever show up again, like how do you balance things out later?
Well, here's the way I look at it. We're at an interesting, if you're listening or watching this in the future, it's September 2020. So we're still in the depths of the COVID pandemic. And yeah, there's no guarantee that things are going back to normal next year. Probably not the year after. I mean, when am I going to expect to tour again? 23? For sure. 22, maybe. Next year, I roll the dice, but probably not. And the reason why is because it takes too much to put together a tour. Like, I know there are people gigging right now. I just had another German bassist, Chris Rodriguez, for the band Revolverheld, and they're doing drive-in shows. And there's a lot of people doing that, but they're not doing 3 months. They did 4 shows. I can't. When you book a tour, a 3-month tour, you pay for it. The promotion goes out like, we are doing this, and then 3 weeks before, the venue goes, oh, hey, sorry, or not the venue. All the venues go, hey, they're not going to let us open, so let's move it to not next week, next year, right? Like, we can't tap on the brakes. We're going to come to a screeching halt, and the only option we have is next year. And that's going to happen again next year. And it's going to happen again the year after that. I mean, you can't book a tour right now. Yeah. You can't guarantee that it's going to happen. And the artist is not, if I was booking a tour, I'm not shelling away hundreds of thousands of dollars unless I know I'm going to make more hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? I'm not going to do that. And maybe I can recoup it 4 years from now when they let me go back to work. Like, I mean, nah, I'm not taking that risk. I'll sit out and I'll wait. And that's what all the artists are doing. So that's all the musicians, we get hired by them. We have to do the same thing. So that's why touring's not coming back. Not until we have 100% reopening. Which, when the hell is that going to be? I don't know, because they got to come out with the vaccine first. It has to work. I don't know if you guys have this problem in Germany, but we have these things called anti-vaxxers here in the States. These are people that think that vaccines kill you or give you autism or some stupid shit. So even when the COVID vaccine comes out, we got dumb fucks here that aren't going to use it because it gives you, I don't know, they're going to come up with something. You know what I mean? So we are a long way from fixing this. Yeah. So pretty much the way I look at it is, yeah, music has no value. It has no worth. So it is not the commodity anymore. Instead, it's the vehicle, right? My music, I make $0, virtually no money. But if you listen to it, you like it, you follow the paper trail, maybe you come to my YouTube channel, I make a little bit of money there. Maybe you like it so much you sign up on Patreon, I make a little bit more money there. Maybe you like it to the point you want to learn how to do it yourself, you come sign up at thebassist.net, I'll make some money there. Like, that's where I'm making my money. The music, it just got you. It just brought you to me. That's it. So I think the same thing, the concert experience is gone right now, and I hope it comes back, but I'm not holding my breath. I'm not waiting for it. I'm not crossing my fingers, but every industry has to adapt. So the school industry has to adapt. The medical industry had to adapt. The TV, film. I don't know. If you work at the bank, I'll bet things are different than they were in February. Because like every industry's had to adapt with like, oh yeah, how do we do business now? How do we refinancing? How are people getting mortgages right now? No, a lot of people don't have paychecks. Like half of the country doesn't have a paycheck right now. How am I supposed to show you my last 3 pay stubs when there weren't any? Yeah. But you're calling me asking me to refinance my mortgage? I don't know. It's a thing. So the music industry is going to have to adapt as well. And the answer is not, like you said, oh yeah, I've watched a few concerts. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It was a rectangle stage with lights. It looked just like a show, and there was a camera here, and they changed angles every once in a while. And for about 4 minutes, you're like, oh, this is cool. Next. Yeah. Totally. Right? But check this out. A band I really like is called Under Oath. They did 3 concerts the past month. They did 3 Fridays in a row, and they played an entire album. They're Only Chasing Safety, Define the Great Divide, and then I forget what the next album was. But it wasn't a show. First of all, they were in a circle, so everyone faced inward. Yeah. Right. There were cameras on the ceiling. There were 2 people on roaming cams walking around the whole time, and they were doing things with LED lights and screens. They could have been playing on the surface of the moon. It was a different experience. If I was sitting in the crowd and watching a 2-dimensional, not 2, but you know what I mean, like basically a Mario screen, a side scroller. The players go left and right, and everything I'm seeing is right there. Versus now I can see it from the ceiling looking down. Or there's a part where the singer, he gets on the mic and he's like this, and the camera is on the ground looking up into him because he grabs the camera and he's screaming into it. They're a metal band, and it's like that. I wouldn't see that in a show.
Definitely.
I wouldn't see that top-down look. I wouldn't see them all looking center and the camera's spinning around in circles and seeing it like it was cool, man. It was different. I mean, they weren't doing green screens, I don't think, but they could have. They could have had monsters. Like if you were here in this room with me right now, all right. I'll turn this off. If you were here, this is what my room looks like.
Yeah.
So if I was doing a concert right now in this room and you were in the room with me, you just see these green, boring ass picture frames. You'd be like, what's so cool about that? You know what I mean? That's a terrible set piece. Whereas now I could be we could be playing in the sun, right? There'd be flames all around me. We can be doing some pretty cool shit. So that's what I think is going to happen is the concert experience needs to change. Case in point, early movies. So all these like black and white ones that are flickering around me, right? They were very much similar to theater.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like if you go watch a play, the actors over enunciate because they're playing for the dude in the front row and the back row. And they're also a lot of musicals because most plays are musical. So it would make sense. Movies, oh yeah, these are just plays. And so musical movies. But then after a while, they're like, ooh, we can move the camera and we can break the fourth wall with different camera angles. And I can move the actual wall so that you don't see the director's chair and bullet time. And we can do like the camera can become a character in and of itself, kind of. You can't do that on theater. You can't do that in a play. So to say that a movie isn't as good as a play, I mean, they're on two different levels. They both involve acting and characters and plots. Setting and all that stuff, but you can do shit on a movie. CGI, not doing CGI in a play, right? You imagine a dude walking around with those big golf balls and like dots all over it. Like it would look silly, you know? And it kind of does. Have you seen The Lion King or any of those big Broadway productions where they're supposed to have a giraffe and it's like three people like holding up sticks, one's a leg, the other's the head. They're like trying to move like a giraffe together. And it's like, I get what you're doing, but this is silly, right? This shit would not fly in a movie. You wouldn't have someone playing Simba who's like wearing a cardboard cutout face. It just wouldn't work. That's stupid. CGI that shit. Or train a real lion. I don't know. You do the math. But like in a movie, you could just do different things. And so music is about to make that same transition, I think. Mm-hmm. I think that, or not music, the concert.
But what about, you mentioned earlier the how often the shows happen, right? Like you can book a tour for 3 months. So if you're say everyone was doing this different kind of live streams, this green screen, the cameras in the circle, all that, how often can you pull that off? Like,
good question.
Yeah,
good question, and we'll find out, won't we?
Yeah. Also,
well, I mean, I don't know. Like, how often did how many symphonies did Beethoven write? Do you know?
No idea.
He only wrote 9. Mm-hmm. Guy before him, Mozart, wrote like 100 or something. Guy before him, Haydn, I don't even know. He's called the father of the symphonies. So people went from writing literally hundreds of symphonies. As soon as Beethoven only wrote 9, everyone after him wrote like 5. Brahms came after Beethoven. He only wrote 4. Like the symphony became a thing like, oh, we mass produce these, we put them out. And then it became like, no, a composer spends like a decade on this shit. He pours everything he can until it is immaculately perfect. How many times can you do that? Well, Beethoven only 9, Brahms only 4. You know, like as the medium changes, like, the output changes as well. So, I don't know. How many times could I do something like that? Not often, but I'm not trying to. You know, I don't know. It's going to be a new thing. It'll be a new way of doing it, and it'll either be better or it'll be worse. Who knows? But that's what I mean. When the professionals show up, right? I'm talking about this band Underoath. They're great, fantastic. But what about when Mr. Barrington or Adam Neely or Evan and Dana, if they saw that concert and went, ooh, I could do that on the fly with Ableton, and I could trigger my kick drum so that okay, so what if
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
It's happening. Yeah.
other people are going to see that and be inspired in ways that, you know, for what they do, they're going to utilize it. And that's social media. That's everything we're doing right now.
Yeah.
You know, it's just all of us influencing and inspiring each other. And then we're latching on to different things and doing it in our own way. Hopefully, you know, so yeah, I think it'll be a cool thing as it develops. It's not a very cool thing right now. Because again, everyone wants the concert. Everyone's missing the concert experience. And I miss it too. And I want it to come back, but something will replace it. It has to. Because we're not going to sit here for 2.5 years and just wait for it to come back.
Exactly.
You know, like, I mean, I'm not going to do that. Are you?
No.
I hope you're not, because you're going to be broke.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's been more and more concerts, like real concerts here in Germany, but like overall in the world, tours not happening. I mean, I don't see that.
Well, and that's the difference. Like, concerts are happening, yeah. Tours,
Yeah.
that's a different thing. Again, a tour is 3 weeks at least, 3 months for a good one. That's how much. I mean, like a 2-month tour. If you book 3 of those a year, you're set. Did you hear what I just said? You need to be gone 6 months out of the year. If you're not gone 6 months out of the year as a musician, you are not even breaking even. Like for a touring musician.
Yeah.
Right? That'd be like someone showing up to work half of the time. You're not going to be able to pay your bills. And we can't do that. You can't guarantee anyone that they can be gone for 6 months next year, or even this year, or even 22. Like, we're not at that point where we can make those promises. So yeah, we can do gigs, but is that $1,000 going to get you through the next 6 months? No, it is not.
Yeah.
You know, so that's the problem that our industry is having right now is, we can't guarantee, venues cannot guarantee that the shows we book for the future are going to be able to continue, that we'll actually be able to go to the show. And until they can do that, yeah, we can't put our eggs into that basket at all in any capacity. Because, well, I mean, like, it happened to everyone this year. March happened and all of the tours closed. My friends who play with the Jonas Brothers, with Shakira, with Katy Perry, with Kelly Clarkson, all of them, all of their work disappeared for the next 2 years, overnight. You know what I mean? Like, it happened that fast. So what are those guys doing right now? What are they going to do?
Yeah.
You know, it's shitty. It really is. But we'll get through it. And I think that's the beauty of it. Is now we get to be creative in a way that kind of like, you know, when Napster, Kazaa, iTunes, and, you know, well, before iTunes was the answer. But when the music industry was like, ooh, I don't know about this whole internet thing, it's going to ruin it all. Metallica was suing fans for downloading music. Like, it was a rough couple of years. And it took a computer company, Apple, to go, hey, how about we just create a platform, give you a device, and you can access all the music ever instantly. And everyone went, how much is it? Sign me up. Let's go. You know what I mean? Like, we now have a new, no one listens to the radio. Who gives a shit about radio? Nobody goes to the radio to find out what good new music there is.
Yeah.
Okay, not nobody, but most of us don't. We have Spotify. We have other outlets. So new things are going to come out. We just have to wait for smart people to develop it, or just really, really talented, I hate that word, but just professionals. I keep coming back to that word. People who, that's what they do. Once they jump into whatever this new thing is going to be, it's going to be something else. But a lot of people are going to try to just do what they did before. And that's, you know, like it's the same thing like Napster. The record labels were like, no, this internet thing, it's not going far. Come on, I give this 2 years tops. People will come back. They're going to buy CDs eventually. Don't worry. Well, we all saw how that worked out, you know? So, I think if you're waiting for the old way to come back, I think you're going to be waiting a long time. I think you would be better served trying to figure out not how to do what you were doing before, just in a digital way, but reorient it so that it is something new entirely that fits with where things are going. And if you're one of those smart guys, if you're like Yannick right? Or one of those people that they just see it coming and they're like, ooh, that's where everything's going. I want to be the first one there, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's what we're waiting for.
Yeah. What would be for example, your thoughts or your advice? Because I'm sure people maybe were like producing music before the lockdown, like working on an album, or their own music, or are working on an album right now. Would you recommend, first of all, like to release it like now during this time, or what can somebody do with that music? Since we talked about earlier, it's like music has no value, right?
You know what? I don't have an answer for that. That's actually when I have people come onto my show, sometimes I'll have a publicist reach out and be like, hey, this artist is releasing a record. Can they come on your show and promote it? And yeah, of course. And then sometime during the show, this conversation comes up because we're talking about the record. And I'm just like, man, I got to know. In an industry where you're not going to get your money back. I know I'm not going to get my money back. And you know, however much you spent on this, you're not getting it back. So why did you do it? And I'm not trying to be a dick. Like I need to know because I wouldn't. I tried to release an album in 2016, I think. January 1st, 2016, I was like, you know what? I'm going to release a record. So I got out the pencil and paper and I wrote down the songs that I've currently kind of got sessions like, oh yeah, I could put out a 10 song with these ones here. And I wrote down the names of the players and I wrote down their prices with the friend rate. So I'm already cutting corners. And then mixing and mastering, same thing. The friend rate, I'm already cutting corners. Like, all right, $10,000. I can put out this 10-song EP, 10-song record for about 10 grand. I haven't even made $10,000 off the last one. And that was in 2012. How am I going to make this money back? I'm not. I can't do this. It would be silly and ridiculous for me to spend my own money on something that's not going to, like any other industry. If you cleaned pools for a living, right? Okay, here's $100 to clean this pool. So I'm going to go spend $3,000 on pool cleaning equipment so I can make $100. Well, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't start a pool company. There's not enough pools out here, apparently. I should go to a different industry, right? I mean, that's the clear, obvious answer. But artists are different. We do things that don't make sense. Why did you paint the Mona Lisa that way?
Yeah.
That's just the way he did it, I guess. The smile. Is it this? Is it that? Is it Jesus Christ? I don't know. Ask the guy. He's the artist. He did it that way. And he chose to. So we kind of make decisions not based on logic and reason and rationale. And sometimes it's just, I painted Starry Night that way because that's the way I see it. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
So I think musicians are always going to do things regardless of the payoff. But when it comes to business, you can't ignore those decisions. So I decided I'm but I'm just not releasing albums. I can't justify it. Some people can because they have a bigger audience than I do. They make music that appeals to more people, maybe. Sure, whatever it is. But I can't justify me making the music that I want to make as an album. That's the important part. I haven't stopped releasing music. I haven't stopped writing music or performing. If anything, I've ramped it up. And I'm not paying any money. And I'm only making money.
Yeah.
So I think I'm doing it I think I'm doing it a pretty good way. As opposed to the traditional method, which is put together an album, go tour on the album, and then rinse and repeat. But I especially now that mechanism doesn't work.
Yeah.
Right. So up until this point, that one still worked for some people. Now the only option you have is what I've been doing.
So where are you releasing that music that you're writing? Is that
YouTube? I mean, like it'll come out in a video. If I'm going to do a finger funk lesson, I wrote it.
Gotcha.
I'm writing music.
Yeah.
I'm playing things, but I didn't have to craft it into a 3-minute or 5-minute song or this or that. Like I just needed to come up with an A section.
Yeah.
So I'm cutting corners because again, there's no money. I can't hire players. I can't do this. I can't do that. But I can still be musical. I can still be creative. And so I do it through my YouTube channel in the form of lessons or performances. I do that kind of shit all the time. I'll just in here you can't see it, but there's a keyboard, there's a drum set behind me. I'm surrounded by glockenspiels and random shit. And so I'll go on Twitch and I'll just be like, all right, someone give me a time signature and a key and a style. All right, Don't Stop Believing by Journey in 11 in the style of Rage Against the Machine. Okay, here we go. And like now that's what I'm going to do for the next hours. Try to make that happen, right? So you can make music, and by the time the show is over, the song's done. There's no mixing. There's no I don't have to spend months and months to put that one thing out and then start the process over. I did it in the span of 30 minutes. I'll do it again tomorrow. I'll do it again the next. There's still outlets for your creativity, and there are things that can take the place of what the song or what the album or what the record used to be. But it's not that anymore. And it hasn't been for a long time, right? This hit that the music industry took didn't happen in March. It happened 2 decades ago. The music industry died with iTunes. When Best Buy, do you guys have Best Buys out in Germany? Big conglomerate department stores where you can go buy a dishwasher and I don't know. See, they used to be like 50% CDs and DVDs. Yeah. You would go to Best Buy to buy music or to buy movies. Now if you go there, there's not a single rack of CDs or DVDs or any of that stuff because it's just all streaming now. It's all downloading. So we've been here for a long time. It's just a lot of people were dragging their feet, but now we have to. Now we're forced into this place because there's no other options. You can't take that much time to make an album at least we'll recoup it in our merch sales when we go on tour. We're not doing that anymore. So how are you going to make your money back? Yeah. New product, new idea. It's time to go back to the drawing board. Yeah. So that's how I do it. But again, I'm not, I've never made my living selling my music. I've always made my living teaching music or playing someone else's. Either it was a side band, cover band, function bands, whatever you want to call them. That's where the money is. Because if you're writing your own stuff, I don't know. Ask them. Ask your friends. Ask your friends that all they do is their own original music. Hey, how you doing? Are you paying your bills with this? Or do you have side hustles? Do you wait tables? Do you have other things? Chances are it's that. Because making a living on your own artistic music is difficult unless you're doing production stuff, TV and film, which I don't count that. That's not, you're doing that because someone was like, oh, we need something that sounds like Avengers. Okay, you weren't going to write that on your own. You just did that because someone offered you a paycheck for it. But that's another viable thing too. It's like, yeah, production music, canned music, stuff for libraries and production houses. Yeah, there's always going to be a market for that. So, yeah, I think it's just taking the things you were going to do anyways and how are you going to do them now? How are you going to adapt to it? Yeah.
About that, the side hustle thing, I also talked to Ian Allison. Do you know him? Amazing bass player in Minneapolis. You should have him on the show, on your show. Check him out on Instagram. I'm going to send you his address.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Definitely.
Amazing musician. And he was like, if you want to be, creative and active also in the creative scene, most of the time, like you said, probably not gonna make a lot of money from that. And you are able to take more jobs that let you be, creative or do your own thing by doing, I don't know, like function or cover gigs that bring you the money.
Right.
So having another source of income to be able to also be creative and balancing it out at the same time too. I think it's a great advice.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Everyone's always, if you're a musician, you do a lot of different things. You got your irons in a lot of different fires, so to speak. And all those fires, they dried up. They didn't dry up. That's water. What happens to the fire? They all got put out. Now we just have the one iron. Like I can play music. How do I get money coming in from this now? And yeah, it just means we've got to get creative. And again, I think the people who latch onto it, the cream rises to the top. I remember hearing that from Damien Erskine years ago. I was at there's an event called Bass Player Live that Bass Player Magazine puts on. It used to be in Los Angeles, and I don't think they've done it in a few years, but it's like a very scaled down NAMM show. And I remember I was at a clinic that Damien was doing with Yannick and and Juan Alderete. Because they were like in 2012 or 13 or whatever year this was, they were the three. He had pedals and effects, Yannick's bass lessons, .tv or whatever. Damien, I don't remember. He was no treble. He was tied into no treble, which was picking up steam. Anyways, these were just like three independent bass players who are doing what we're doing now. But at the time, they were like the only game in town, you know? And I just remember that was something that Damien kept coming back to, is like, yeah, jump on board, do your best. Oh, well, what about if too many people get involved? You know, the cream is always going to rise to the top. You'll always be able to tell the difference between dirty loops and whoever is trying to do that, but they're clearly not as good. Dirty loops is going to shine if someone else tries to take that territory, because
that's what they do.
They're really fucking good. You know what I mean? You got to do better than that. Yeah, not interested. I don't want to sign up for that gig.
However, for example, about that, even if you're not, I mean, for people not to get discouraged, even if you can't do dirty loops 0.2 or something, you can do your own thing and still shine with that if you're doing something that speaks, you know, authentically.
Of course. Yeah, I don't mean that to discourage anyone. I'm just saying, for the people who look down their nose at the notion that, like, well, now that anyone can do music, it's just not as good. That's not true. You're just not looking hard enough. Music is still really good. It's just the radio. You don't have anyone telling you what it is now. At least here in the States, we had radio and we had disc jockeys and people who would tell you, this is the music you listen to. When I was in junior high, there was a channel called MTV. Which I don't think they play music anymore, but if you wanted to know what to listen to, you watched MTV. There was a show called TRL, Total Request Live. And Carson Daly told us about the new Blink-182 song, and we got to watch it every hour. And then there was a new Destiny's Child, because Beyonce wasn't out yet. And NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. Like, they told you what music to listen to. You didn't have to go find it. And that's the reason why I hate pop music. I love punk rock, death metal, jazz fusion. No one told me what to listen to. Yeah. I go find my own taste. You know, the clothes I wear, the music I listen to. Fuck you if you want to tell me what to wear. I decide those things for me. But some people are like, you know, yeah, I like Nickelback. You just don't know better. You haven't heard enough good rock bands yet. I am talking shit about Nickelback, but they can take it. I know from good sources that they love how much of a joke they are. They are very hyper aware of it. But I don't remember what I was saying either. Yeah, either way.
Industries tell you what to do. I mean, here in Germany, for example, I think there are plenty of people who are still listening to radio stations. However, at least here, I don't know how it is in the US, but I mean, because Spotify is like global thing, but like the Spotify new release charts, I know a lot of people who just consume that. Mm-hmm. And you go to the German top 50 releases and something, there's a lot of special music, to put it in a kind way there.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah. So you will say, oh, that's really good stuff, right? It's like, that has a big budget behind it, and, you know, like a big production company doing all those stuff. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I also, like yourself, you know, I grew up listening to Iron Maiden, Deep Purple, right? Yeah. Nobody told me. I was like, that's awesome, man.
And if someone did tell you, hey, you should check out this Sugar Ray song, you'd be like, yeah, probably not. I probably won't be doing that, but thanks anyways. But I don't know. I mean, yeah, here in the States, I mean, radio is still live to an extent in the Midwest, for sure. Not on the West Coast. Probably not East Coast either. I saw it still alive and well, because we did a lot of radio tours last year. So we'd go to a lot of stations, and it helped bring people to the concerts, because yeah, over there in forget which one it is in Omaha. Forget the name of the station. But yeah, the Omaha show sold out because Omaha, Nebraska listens to the radio. Los Angeles doesn't. Las Vegas doesn't. Most of the country does not listen to radio. And even the places where radio is alive and well, the numbers are a fraction of what they used to be compared to how many people watch YouTube or Spotify. It's like TV. You know, I was listening to someone on Joe Rogan's podcast. It was Rob Lowe. he was on a TV show that was like number 70 in the Nielsen ratings in the 80s, 1980s. He was a teenager on some sitcom on TV, and they were number 60 or 70. They were like almost as low as you could possibly go, and they had 19 million people watching each episode.
Wow.
Right? I mean, like a good show today doesn't get more than 3, 4. Like I don't know how many people watch TV now, but it is not. There are not 19 million people tuning into a dog shit show. You know what I mean? I mean, like one of the top shows would be lucky to get half of that. You know, so the numbers have certainly flip-flopped. So to think of 19 million, that's successful today, but not back then. Wasn't enough. Yeah. So yeah, that's another thing too. Like, radio's still alive and well. Is it? Mm-hmm. Is it really? I mean, maybe in some places, but it's no. That's another thing that's dead. It died a long time ago, but you know, there's money in it. So, or there's money tied up in it. So we got to keep this thing going. But yeah, it's not dying. It's dead. They just haven't caught up to the fact. Yeah. You know, kind of the same way I think about records. You know, again, music is worthless. It's valueless. That's the truth. If you haven't caught up to that yet, it doesn't make it any less true. It just means you're not aware of it. Mm-hmm. It hasn't hit your radar. But that's where we are.
Yeah.
You know?
Speaking about pop music, I don't listen to, of course, I listen to radio. I rarely check the charts. If I have to play a pop song, like a current pop song, it's either because my students requested to me, or because
a cover gig.
A cover, exactly. Have you checked Dua Lipa?
Sorry, have I checked who?
Dua Lipa.
Yes, only because of the exact reason that you just said. Those songs come up twice a week on my Twitch stream. So I've played several of them. I don't, is that the name of the artist?
Yeah, she's a singer, I think.
Okay, yeah, so I've played maybe 2 or 3 of them. Yeah. Couldn't for the life of me tell you how it goes, but I enjoyed it. I remember because when the name came up over and over again, I'd be like, oh, I remember this one, cool. But I just remember, it's got a chorus that really drops. Killer pocket.
Bass lines, like
I just remember like the groove of the chorus.
I mean, that's one of
boom, 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 boom. Right, that's the song. Killer. Killer.
But she dropped, I think, right before the lockdown happened, actually.
Okay.
And I see that, to me, I mean, that's great pop music for me. There's amazing bass lines, great hooks, great production, of course. And it's not like I would say, okay, she's just a pretty face that has, but somebody put a lot of money into it. I mean, the production and the singing is really cool stuff. And it's something that I do enjoy, for example.
Well, let me put it this way. I don't dislike pop music for the musicality of it. I mean, I love it. I love playing Michael Jackson songs. I love playing Dua Lipa. That's what you just said?
Yeah.
Like, I'll play anything. This is a funny thing. When people ask me what kind of music I like, because I have to stop and go, I don't know. What kind of music do I like? Or we'll be mid-song and people be like, hey, do you like this song? And I'm like, I don't know. I haven't asked that question yet.
Yeah.
There are 1,000 questions of like, how does it start? Am I in at the top or do I come into the verse? Do I play up high? Do I play it on low? Where's it? Oh, there's that dropout. Like there's a million things. And then do I like it? Who cares? Who cares if I like it? That's not even like, I'm going to kill this song. I'm going to do a great job on it, whether I like it or don't. Because this is my profession. That's just what I do. So when people ask like, oh, do you even like this music? I have to stop and, okay, hold on. Am I tapping my foot? Is it Louis Armstrong happening? So in that case, that song, like, yeah, that is a jam, dude. I love playing on that song. And I even forgot about it until you brought it up. So my problem isn't with pop music. My problem with pop music and anything pop culture is that it's being fed to you.
Mm-hmm. Same here.
Right? There's not really a reason why, like, that's not the greatest song in the world. It's just the one you keep hearing over and over and over again. Why? Because of the ad sponsors. Why? Because of whoever's paying the thing to get it in front of you. That's why that song is so popular. Not because it's the best song in the world. And I don't know. I just, if I'm going to enjoy something, be it a movie, it's the reason I like horror movies. All right. It's a polarizing like genre. It's on its own. Metal's the same thing. Yeah. Who wins metal Grammys? You know, like who is? I mean, some people do, but like, when is metal music on the radio? Like Between the Buried and Me or Cannibal Corpse? It's not. It's alive and well and probably makes more money than, like as a whole than some of those other genres. But those are communities in and of themselves of people who found that music, found those movies because they were seeking it, because what they were being fed was like, I don't like, if I go back to junior high and, I'm watching NSYNC and Backstreet Boys, and I'm like, these guys all have bleached, spiked hair. Like I'm a ginger, I don't have hair anymore, but I used to have curly red hair. Like I don't look like these people. They're all singing about girls. I don't have a girlfriend. I don't relate to you in any way, shape, or form. You got puka shell necklaces on, and I'm wearing choke chains. You know what I mean? So like, we're not going to be friends. If we had the same science class together, I'm not sitting next to Mark McGrath. We're not going to get along. This is the inner workings of a 12-year-old child, keep in mind. But so we seek out the things that we do. Like Davey Havoc from AFI, you sing about being an outcast. I'm an outcast. I feel that way. I'm with you. You know what I mean? Like that's my gripe with just anything pop culture is it's just being spoon-fed. It's being spoon-fed to you by someone who's controlling where things are going. Yeah. And that's not a conspiracy theory. I'm not getting into Big Brother or any of that shit, but that's what's happening, right? So you don't get to tell me what good music is. I decide that for myself, you know? And if it happens to be a pop song, I'll call it like it is for sure. Happy, that Pharrell tune. I mean, that was great the first 9,000 times you heard it. You know what I mean? Like everyone smiled. It's a good jam. It really, really was. Bruno Mars, the same thing. I mean, anyone. Yeah, there is great pop music. The music isn't what bothers me. It's literally just the mechanism behind it. Like what are we doing here? Am I genuinely interested because I identify with it, or do I not have the time or energy to go seek out my own interests? So you tell me what I'm interested in.
Yeah.
No, I don't like that. That's not me. But that's the punk rock. That's the, that's what I grew up with. That's my attitude.
Yeah.
So
yeah, 100%.
So go with it, man. Yeah.
I think I always find it funny when little students of mine, you ask them, what do you like to listen to? Yeah, anything.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean? Yeah, I don't know. You like rock, you like hip hop, yeah, whatever. And then you just start trying things, right? I remember you just showing the music and see if something clicks. I remember once, however, that one student of mine, I think he's 8 or something. He came to class and asked me if we could do a song by the Bee Gees. And I was like, hell yeah, man. Of course. If you ask me,
nice.
I'll do it. And I transcribed everything and handed it to him. And he was like, yay.
Yeah. Well, and that's an interesting thing too. Like I've found students today. I was teaching in a classroom up until 2 years ago. I still own a school in Los Angeles. So the majority of what I do is teaching music to children. And like when I was a kid, like a kid would bring like a junior high school, 14, 15-year-old kid would bring in a song that I would classify as something Britney Spears would have done. Like that's the type of pop music this is. And I'm like, dude, man, when I was 14, I would not be caught dead listening to this. Not because I didn't like it, but like if you were all black and you listen to punk rock, there's no chance that you're going to be listening to Britney Spears or NSYNC or whatever was on the radio. Like, because you belong over here. Music was divided.
It's a cultural thing, right?
Yeah, but nowadays, like a student would come in and be like, I really want to learn this song, and it's a country song. And then next week, okay, let's do this one, and it's like a Backstreet Boy type thing. Then the next one is like some proggy death metal. Like, how do you have this kind of musical palette?
Yeah.
And well, the reason's obvious because when I was a kid, I had CDs. You had to go buy them, and I only had the CDs that I had. That's a very old-timey and also very logical sentence, but for some reason it does not apply to today, right? I only had 10 CDs. So the only music I could ever listen to was one of 100 songs, realistically. You know what I mean? Whereas nowadays, a kid could go from this song to that song. They could be vastly different. And, that's what the internet does. That's what bringing down those walls did, is it kind of those dividers of like, oh, I only do this, or I only listen to that. We're kind of all over the place right now. You could enjoy any kind of music or any kind of movie or any kind of video, because you have access to all of it. And if it makes you smile, hey, if your foot's tapping, there you go, Louis. Keep proving me right, dude.
Yeah, for sure. I was to sign up for lessons because he found out about bass guitar thanks to DB504.
Nice.
He was like, I've never seen a bass before. What he does is cool. I want to do that. And he wanted to take lessons. I think it's awesome.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I can easily feel like sounding like a get off my lawn grandpa. I don't know if that translates to your part of the world, but that's kind of like an older person out here is just like, it was better back in my day. Oh, it's just like, yeah, the music industry was cool, but it sucked for 99% of everyone. It was great for a select few. And that's something that most people don't realize. Is most of your audience musicians or bass players? Yeah. So preaching to the choir here, but to any normal people listening, like, we don't make a lot of money. Some people do. They're the lawyers and the suits and the people at the top, but everyone else is getting a couple of $100 here and there. Even the people writing the music, they're not doing well either. The reason why those bands are out on tour all the time, because they have to be. The moment they stop, they go bankrupt because they still owe from the last 2 records. It's a broken system. It's not a good one. I'm sorry. It was a broken system. It was not a good idea. It died years ago.
Yeah.
We're just now finally burying it, And so that's kind of what I think. So to now get away from the angry grandpa, get off my lawn, what's exciting is we have a chance to build something new in its place.
Exactly.
Right? So Spotify came out, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe you know more about this than I do. But Spotify came out recently and was like, hey, artists, I need you to start putting out more material because we're not making enough money. And all the artists are like, you're keeping like all of the money. And we can only write it. What the hell's going on? You should be paying us more, come to think of it. Like, if you have a problem with Spotify, leave the platform. Like, we don't need to play by their rules. Yeah. I don't like the way things are going on YouTube. That's why I'm heading over to Twitch. I didn't leave YouTube, but I'm banking my money elsewhere because I see where the landscape is. I see where things are going, and I don't like it. And I don't have to. I don't have to play by their rules. I don't have to play their game because there are lots of games. There's lots of games developing each and every day, and you have a choice. You can go to a place, and that's the reason why I think Twitch is ultimately, I keep saying it's the one that's going to save the music industry, because on YouTube, you need 100,000 subscribers to quit your day job. But even then, you're going to be, you're going to have a rough couple of months. 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, and you're barely getting by. On Twitch, if you've got 300 people watching you, quit your day job. You're making like almost 10 grand a week. Mm-hmm. Did you hear what I said? 100,000 people and you're barely getting by, or 200 to 300, and yeah, you're making a fuck ton of money.
Yeah.
The numbers are smaller on Twitch, so that's a better game to play. If I had to hedge my bets, it'll take me a long time. I've been doing YouTube for a while. I'm not even at 70,000. Twitch, granted, yeah, I've only got like 20 people or 20, 30 watching at a time, but as soon as I only need to double that 2 or 3 more times, and then I can quit my day job that doesn't exist. You know what I mean? Like, you can go a lot further with a lot less on that platform. It's the better platform. Mm-hmm. Hands down. Hands down. There's no way around it. So you were asking before for people to get advice for anyone getting started. If you want to start a YouTube channel, you will have a 2 to 3 year adventure where at the end of that 3rd year, maybe you'll make barely anything. I mean, that's what most YouTubers have that experience, mm-hmm. right? On Twitch, my friends who started doing it in March, I only jumped on about a month and a half ago, but my friends who were doing it on March, they're making 3 or 4 grand a day. A day.
Wow.
Just from 5, and they do it 5 days a week. They do it 5 days a week for, 6, 7, 8 hours. It's work, but that's the kind of money you can make on Twitch with, just a couple hundred people.
Yeah.
Come on. Tell me that that's not better than YouTube, what YouTube has to offer.
Yeah, I mean, it's the big difference. One thing that, for example, for me, and maybe you can like rewire my brain, I don't know. But for
I
example,
hope I don't do that.
no, I mean just share your information.
I got you. Yeah.
Like for example, say you're streaming like 6 hours a week, doing like you said, practicing or playing or
Not 6 hours a week, 6 hours a day, 5 days a week.
Yeah, 6 hours a day.
That's what it takes.
You're playing. I personally, for example, instead of having people like watch me for 6 hours a day, I would rather have them doing something else that might help them improve in some way that.
So maybe that's what you're doing for 6 hours a day. Here's the thing. I'm not playing music the whole time. The show is a 6-hour show. And here's the reason why it has to be a long time. Because Twitch is designed for video gamers.
Yeah.
You can play video games for 8 hours a day. You can. And it's entertaining to watch too.
Yeah.
Like it's there's things happening. And I could just throw it on in the background and watch it all day long. Why not? Why wouldn't I? But like you're not watching 6 hours of that. You're not even watching 6 minutes of that, So yeah, what are you gonna do? I don't know. Yannick right now is doing a pedal thing. Mm-hmm. I saw on his Instagram, he's demoing or comparing Octaver pedals. He's got 20 trillion pedals. Been to his house. I've seen him. He's got a fuck ton of them, right? And so I've got a camera right here. In fact, let me do it.
Yeah.
Turn this on.
Turn on the camera.
We're getting deep here. All right, so my pedal board, pretty simple. I got a DI, I got a synth, I got an overdrive, a chorus, and a tuner, and this is my mouse. I got a bunch of MIDI controllers and stuff, right? But I could load this up with octave pedals and then just go to, so I'm going back to this screen, and then just go to my audience and be like, hey, which one do you want to hear? Oh, this one? Okay, let's see what knobs I can, that's a cool sound. Oh, you think I should try to get it more like square wavy? Let's see if I can do that and tweak away. Like, I could do that for an hour, 2 hours. And then after that, be like, all right, let's learn a song. Someone shout out a really hard one. Let's learn a dirty loop song. And I'll transcribe it right now. I'll transcribe the whole thing. We'll go through bar by bar. Somebody had me, they posted my Thriller video, which is at 1.2 million views at the moment. I can't believe that many people have watched my remake of Thriller because it's terrible, but the music's pretty good. And he was like, hey, can you show me all of the licks and then also explain where they came from, where you got the ideas? All right. So I pulled up the video on screen. We watched it together and I pointed out, that was a mistake, or, I'm doing the director commentary. And then I play, stop it. That's Stevie Wonder. It's just a pentatonic lick. That's where I got that from, man. Keep going. Oh, what was that lick? Let me learn it really quick. Oh, that's from December 1963. That's like my favorite lick of all time. And I kind of repurposed it, changed this note, and this is how I got that one. And I spent 20 minutes doing that. Like, there's more than just watch me perform. Mm-hmm. That's just a part of it. Yeah. And when that gets boring, I switch gears and we do something else. But so that's what I'm talking about. The show isn't watch Jayme play or watch Jayme practice or ask Jayme questions or try to stump the bass player or let's go to the drum kit or let's write music. The show is all of that. It could be, you don't know what it's going to be. And that's why you need to show up. Mm-hmm. That's why I need to be there, because it's live. It's happening now. You get to be a part of it. And once it's done, it's done. Not releasing this. It's not an album. It might make it into a clip on socials or on YouTube. I've been doing that. And that's the other thing too, is like, I do the live show and I do my podcast, right? And both of those start and end, and then the work is done. I mean, when the live stream is over, I don't go back and edit it because I did it live. So there's no more work to do. Podcast, same thing. Conversation's done. It's done. Upload it. We're good to go. So then I can go through and find 10 minutes that are like, ooh, that was a really good side tangent, or that was a really cool lesson, or that was a sick fill. All right, now let's transcribe it, or let's take that 10 minutes, cut it down to 4, add in some funny Indiana Jones clips or like whatever. You know what I mean? Like then I get to kind of get creative with it, make a little thing. And that's my YouTube video for this week. Yeah. I didn't have to make a YouTube video. I did it during the live stream. I did it during the podcast. I just had to chop it down. It took me 2 hours. Yeah. Whereas before, if I make a YouTube video, it takes me 15 hours from scripting to filming to editing to uploading and promoting. And 1,000 people watched it. Well, that's shitty. 15 hours for $3. That's not a very good return, right? Whereas, if I get that return on something that I spent, I don't know, an hour on, but also like it was just a piece of something that I was already doing that's making me money, that's doing well, that's going somewhere. Like, all right, we just need to keep this up to make the clips as special as the content itself, but it requires no extra effort. Yeah. So it's literally killing 3 birds with 1 stone. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's the way I kind of look at it is, how do you do that for that many hours, that many days a week? I don't know. How do you do it? What are you going to do? I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. This is what I'm doing. My friend Shim, he's writing songs with people. Mm-hmm. So he'll literally pull up a Pro Tools session. All right, throw me some lyrics. Okay, that's a cool phrase. We'll turn that into the hook. What do you think of these 3 chords? Yeah, you're right. Those are shit. Let's change the 3rd one. Like he writes songs with his fans. Mm-hmm. He was in a big rock band. He's got 3 platinum records, and he's writing his music with his fans. We're re-recording those records next year. Oh. So he's got 3 platinum records and I think 4 total. And he got kicked out of the band years ago. It's a big thing. But so he owns he doesn't own the masters, but he owns the songs still, right? He wrote them all. So we are going to re-record them with his new band live on Twitch. Yeah. We're going to take the whole year and re-record the album. We did some last night. He's in Australia. I'm in Las Vegas, and I'm playing. He goes, no, change this note, do that, and we're collaborating in the studio. 10 hours apart, different time zones, different continents, and his fans who know the music like the back of their hand. They've been listening to it since they were teenagers. Now they're all in their 40s. They get to hear it in a new way. They get to see it being worked on by the guy who made it, right? In real time. And not only is it like you're not a fly on the wall that's watching, it's like, we're sitting there talking and Shim's, oh, hey, Jennifer, how's it going? Hey, remember that thing we were talking about yesterday? We did this with it. Jayme's about to hear, check this out. Like, you're not just a fly on the wall, you're part of the band now. Yeah. You're in the studio with us, joking with us. It's like a podcast and an album being made at the same time, And so that's when I say Twitch is going to save the music industry. It may not be Twitch, but some format of fans come hang out with the people you are a fan of all day long. Yeah. And be with them while they're doing whatever it is that you're a fan of. Because let's go back to this, right? You were talking a little bit ago about the concert experience. I'm like, yeah, you can watch a movie, but it's not a huge screen and it's not a massive sound system. And like, there's still a thing that you're missing by not going to the theater. That is true. But think about, say you're a fan of Tool. I'm sorry if you're a Tool fan, not because I don't like their music, but they don't care about you. They're going to release an album every 2 decades. You know what I mean? Like, they're not, if you're a Tool fan, you're just not going to get a lot of them. Yeah. But imagine if you got to go hang out with Tool Monday and Wednesday and Friday for 4 hours and watch them make the new record. And not just watch, but also Maynard's like, oh, hey, Iván, good to have you today, man. We're tracking drums. Yeah. What's your favorite snare drum? I don't know. Like, imagine getting to talk with your heroes and the people that are making the thing that you're going to consume. You had to wait 1 album and maybe 1 concert a year. You only got to interact with your band twice. That's if they release a new record every year and come to your city once. Whereas now, I don't have to wait for the album. I get to be there while they're doing it, and I get to see them play 3 times a week. Come on. Tell me that's not a better product. Tell me I'm wrong. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying.
It's interesting, definitely. I mean, the whole industry is definitely an interesting point.
It's different. It's different, and I think some people are going to latch onto it in a really, really big way and do something incredible with it. And that's every day. We're just trying new stuff. Yeah. Just trying new ideas. Actually, the thing I was talking about started out, Shim came on one of my Twitch streams, and he was like, hey, I got an idea. I'm going to conduct you. You're the instrument. Shim is the musician. I'm the instrument. And so Shim's like, okay, play something sad. So I, minor chord, another minor chord. He goes, okay, now make it sound like a dying angel. All right. And so I threw a bunch of distortion on my voice and I'm like, I'm just, whatever he says. And then we make this really cool composition that would probably be for production music. It would be in a movie, a trailer, or something like that. But it was just him like talking, like not saying minor chord, lower the third, this and that, because he doesn't know any of that shit.
Yeah. How did response of that?
Exactly. So he's throwing out words that he's coming up with himself, and he's talking to the audience and getting this stuff. And then he's just feeding it to me. And whatever happens, he's then going, okay, no, more like this. Okay, cut out 400 hertz. Okay, we need something dancing on top. Dancing. You mean like a glockenspiel? And then bling, ding, 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 bling, ding, 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 bling. Yeah, that's kind of all right. Let's throw that in there. You know what I mean? And so we're making a composition in real time in a recording studio technically, and everyone gets to watch us do it. And we're making this shit up as we're doing it.
Yeah.
And you can't see that. You can't get that at a concert, and the average person can't go to the recording studio where Tool is doing this or whoever the person is. You know what I mean? So it's a new experience. It's something different that most people aren't going to get to be a part of. So that's what I keep coming back to. It's scary right now, but we're in the Wild West, man. We're making up our own rules. Woo! Tumbleweeds and everything, dude. Like, I'm sad that the old model is gone and dead because I liked it. It did very well for me for the first 30 years of my life. But it's gone now, at least for the time being. And you have two options. Wait for it to come back. You have three options. Wait for it to come back. Try to keep doing it. See how far that gets you. Or explore new territories.
Yeah.
And the new territory is really exciting. Mm-hmm. Especially if you're the first one there.
Yeah.
Which a lot of us are. There's not a lot of people doing this right now. That right there, Yannick and I talked about this last night. And that's probably the only thing we're going to be talking about on our podcast today is like, if I go on YouTube and I type in bass or just music production, I'm going to be scrolling forever, right? Yeah. Go on to Twitch, type in live music. Like not even bass. Type in live music, you'll get to the end of it. And not like you'll be scrolling for 10 minutes and then you'll get to the end. You'll be like, live music. How many people are performing music right now? Oh, that's it. That's it. That's it. That's how many people are doing it. You can get to the end. And that just lets you know how untapped this is.
Yeah. Definitely.
I'm just saying Twitch is where it's at right now. No. I think Twitch is where it's going to be. Mm-hmm. It's not there yet. But when the professionals and when the fans show up, it's going to be something that it's going to be something new that none of us saw coming.
Yeah.
I just want to be there I want to be on the ground floor of it, whatever it is. This is honestly a chance to, okay, case in point. Remember when Scott Devine first hit?
Yeah.
Not just like first hit, like he was throwing out free lessons, which was a crazy idea. Free bass lessons? I've been teaching my whole life. Never given a free one. Even if I said it was, I'm not going to charge you, they still kicked me a few bucks. You know what I mean? When Scott Devine was just releasing free, like hundreds seemingly of free bass lessons, that was insane. All of us were looking at that going like, what is this guy doing? He's giving away all the, not giving away the answers, but you're giving away what you're going to charge for. How are you going to make any money on this? And then we saw what happened over the years and we went, oh shit. Why didn't I think of that in 2007 or 8 or whenever he started? You know what I mean? He was the first one there, and God bless him. He's killing it because he was he saw something that nobody else did. You know, and so I'm seeing the same exact thing happening on Twitch right now. Mm-hmm. The same exact thing. It's at the entry level, and a year from now, 2 years from now, maybe not even, people are going to look back and go, why didn't I see that coming? Why? How did I miss that? You know, I don't know. I think that's where we are.
Yeah, maybe. I'm definitely curious to see how everything evolves from now forwards.
You and me both, man.
Yeah.
You and me both. But I'm not. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not scared of it. I don't think it's something to shy away from. I don't think it's something. It's not better or worse than what we had before. It's just something different. So roll with it. Why not?
Yeah, definitely. We're closing in on 2.5 hours. I just checked.
Are you kidding? I'm sorry. I
No,
talk too much.
no, it's good. It's great. It's been great. And I have to eat, and I gotta go to the bathroom.
That's right. Yeah, I realize I've killed a cup of coffee, an entire water bottle. I've been doing this. I've been doing these long podcasts for a long time. I think my bladder's grown.
Yeah.
I've definitely evolved. Yeah.
But before we wrap things up, I've been doing this with all the bass players, and it's called the rapid fire question. So you gotta pick one or the other.
Okay, so you're giving me two options, and I gotta say yes to one of them.
Yeah, you gotta pick one or the other.
As fast as possible.
It doesn't matter. You can take your time, but
that part doesn't matter. Okay, all right.
P bass or jazz bass?
J bass, of course.
Active or passive bass?
Passive, of course.
Solid state or tube amp?
Solid state, of course.
Would you rather play on stage, of course right now not, but with an amp or just a DI?
You know what? I've only done DI and in-ears for about the past 13 years, 12 or 13 years. I stopped using amps, I think, in 2007. 13 years, yeah. Wow. So, no amp.
Yeah.
Not that I don't like them. It's just you don't need it. And assuming you're doing those types of gigs. But yeah, for the work that I do, I haven't needed an amp in about 13 years, except for club gigs, wedding gigs, small, tiny parties and whatnot. But I don't do that kind of stuff anymore. I haven't since about 2007.
Yeah. Clean or overdriven bass tone?
Clean.
I thought you were going to say drive, but I'm wrong.
Well, it depends on what I'm playing. If it's rock music, there's always overdrive to some extent. You might not even hear it, but it's just enough harmonic distortion to glue the guitars.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the most part, I do everything. I'm so boring, but I hate it when people ask gear questions because they'll be like, "Hey, what's like the number one pedal that you couldn't live without?" None of them, because 99% of the time I don't bring any. I don't. The bass sounds good on its own.
Yeah. I
can get different tones with my hands. Like, I mean, if I have pedals, I'll use them, but now I have to bring more things. I'm already not being paid enough. Hey, you know what? You're gonna get killer results just with my bass in my hands. Trust me, you'll like it. And they do. And that's why I keep getting hired back. So there's besides the instrument, there's nothing else that's necessary to me. But I like toys. The ones that are here on this board, the Aftershock distortion is great. C4 synth is awesome, but I mean, they're just extra to me. I don't need any of them.
Yeah. Do you rather play nickel or stainless steel?
Nickel for sure. Actually, that's the reason I like the Bass Boomers by GHS, because it's a nickel plated string, but it's stainless steel in the middle, so it's like the best of both. But yeah, if I play stainless steel, my fingers kind of stick to the strings. They get Velcro-y. Does that happen for you too? I don't know. I might sweat a lot.
Same.
Yeah, so stainless steel, I have to change them every day, even if I don't play the bass. If I just look at it, I got to change the strings because they get all nasty. But nickel, especially on tour, yeah, I can go 3, 4, 5 a week sometimes, just depending on how long our set is. Yeah, so nickel feels better.
Yeah,
and if I want more zing and more brightness, that's what the treble knob's for. Dial it in. Come on.
Yeah, neck or bridge pickup?
I'm going neck more and more. Mm-hmm. And here's the reason why is because everyone's listening out of their phone and their laptop speakers. The bass will not cut through, but that neck pickup slices and it forces you in a certain place in the low mids, which is perfect for your phone. Really not that good, not that full sounding, really not what you want for the context of your record. But if I'm playing along to something, or I just want you to notice the bass as you're swiping through on your phone, you'll notice the neck pickup. You won't notice it on the bridge. I'm sorry, I said that backwards. You'll notice it on the bridge pickup. Yeah. You won't notice it on the neck.
Yeah, because the mids.
It'll be like, is the bass even playing right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So neck pickup, that'll make you stand out on your phone mixes.
Even bridge.
I keep saying it backwards. Okay, the Jocko sound. That's the one. Bridge, pickup. You're gonna cut through on somebody's cell phone. Yeah. God, I need to wake up. I need to finish waking up.
Fingers or pick?
Fingers for sure.
Yeah. Do you rather
I'm
play,
rubbish with it.
when concerts come back, if they come back, would you rather have, or do you yourself play club shows or open air stages?
I like them both. They both do something different. There's something about a big festival stadium. I mean, just when there are more eyeballs and heartbeats than you can even see. Like it's just you have to turn your head to get all to see them all. There's a your heart beats out of your chest in a way that just doesn't happen when you're playing at a wedding or a club where everyone's dancing, but it's only 50 people there. It's not the same. You don't get the same rush, but there's 50 people and they're dancing, and you can see them. I can actually see the looks on their faces, and that you don't get when you're playing for a sea of people. I don't even see noses. I'm assuming you're all humans, but I can't tell. You're too far away. You know what I mean? It could be monkeys for all I know. So there's something about being around where I can see your whole body, head to toe, and we're playing, and we're like not that far apart from each other, from everyone in the room. That's another special thing that you don't get. So I like them both, but probably clubs. Yeah. If I had to choose just one, it'd be clubs because the pressure and the stress is way less. Because I don't ever just play. I'm always a tour manager, a music director. I always wear too many hats. So when I have that many responsibilities and it's a massive show, then it's pretty stressful for me.
Yeah. Clubs have been the most common answer so far.
Club, yeah. Yeah, there's just something about the intimacy and the instant reaction. Because people, as a bass player, people will hear what I'm doing. Like when you get to a certain size venue, by the time you're all the way back, that's what you hear of me, right? So the pressure kind of comes off in that respect. If I hit a wrong note, you'll really never know. You know what I mean? I can fix it before the time you hear the wrong one. So we have that working for us. But in a club, if I do a little thing, everyone hears it. They'll tune in with you. Yeah. You don't get that at the at bigger shows, bigger events.
Interesting, right? Because we go to these massive shows where the sound sucks most of the time.
Yeah. I have a rule. I don't go to shows above 3,000 people. 3,000 to 5,000 can still be an enjoyable concert experience. Just because for the size of the room and the system that you need, it can still be enjoyable.
Yeah.
Once you get into that stadium, baseball stadium, Staples Center, massive arenas, they don't sound good. No matter where you are, it sounds like shit. You have to even know how the song goes. Yeah. You have to know the words so you can sing them in your head at the same time to know what song you're hearing. Otherwise, they could be playing and singing anything. I just and I'm seeing him hit the snare drum, but I hear the kick drum because I'm so fucking far away. This isn't good. And I had to pay $200 to get here, $20 to park my car. Beers are $1,000 each. Why am I doing this to myself? What is the point? I want to sit down, but the person in front is standing, so now I got to stand, but I'm short, so I got to get my tippy toes, jump every once in a while. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. So that's I don't go to those big shows. I like to go see a band, 3,000 people or less. I'm happy. Anything more than that, we only go because my wife wants to go. Because I'm not going to willingly sign up for that.
Yeah. You prefer 4 or 5 string basses?
You know what? For me personally, 4, but 5 is what I do most of my work on.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think the range of the 4-string bass is correct. Meaning, when I say correct, setting aside metal or anything requires deep drop tunings. If you're playing a pop song, you don't want your low C. You actually want, what is it? Technically C2. Whatever your 3rd fret on your A string or the 8th fret of your E string. That, specifically on the E string, that C is the right one.
Yeah.
Trust me. It's going to fit the song. It's going to fit the mix. It's going to fit with the kick drum and the snare drum and the vocalist 99% of the time. That is the C you want. If you go too low, you've altered the relationship of all those things, and it's going to sound cool because but it's going to be harder to make it work. That middle range of the bass, from frets 5 to 8 on your E and your A string, those are the right notes.
Yeah.
I can almost guarantee for most of what you're doing, if you stay there,
Money.
yeah, the producer is going to like it.
Yeah.
But, you know, that low D, the low C for country, deep rock, heavy metal. Like, yeah, I get it. I'm not saying the 5-string is never the right answer, but for the majority of what you're going to do, yeah, the middle section of a 4-string bass guitar, that's where it sounds the best, and it will sound the best in the mix. I can almost guarantee it.
Yeah. Do you rather play live or do studio recording gigs?
Yeah, that's another tough one. I would say live, but I'm better in the studio. Like I perform better in the studio because I actually execute. Whereas live, I take more chances, and so I just make more mistakes.
Yeah.
You know, so I probably play better in the studio, but I have more fun live.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah. Cool.
I'll put it that way.
And before we go to social channels and stuff, what are your top 5 most influential albums of all time?
Stanley Clarke School Days, Victor Wooten, A Show of Hands, for the bass guitar, and then Jocko's solo records. Each of those 3 things stopped me dead in my tracks the first time I encountered them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So like, I was walking, and then I heard School Days, records crash, and I was like, what was that? And then we were there for the next hour. That happened with A Show of Hands, and it happened with Jocko. And I'm sure everyone who's heard those 3 recordings knows exactly what I'm talking about. The world stopped spinning for a second.
Yeah.
So those 3 are huge. What would the other 2 be? Between the Buried in Me's, Alaska. Are you familiar with them? Dan Briggs plays bass in that band. Yeah. Alaska, I was a pick player up until that point. Alaska got me to go back to playing fingerstyle.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks, Dan. I play fingers. I play like at the age of 14, I switched playing from fingers to a pick because I started to listen to punk rock. Yeah. And then I started playing in metal bands, and everything was a pick, and it was like driven guitar riff type stuff. And then that album, when I heard what Dan was doing, he's a metal bassist, but you wouldn't know it because the way he plays bass in that band is not what a metal bass guitarist should be doing. And now there's a lot of bands that do that, and I'm one of them. Like when I play metal, I try to do it the way that he does it. He plays fingerstyle. He's got a very pointy sound. It's just the opposite of what you would expect for that genre. And I couldn't do those things with a pick.
Yeah. So
I was like, I need to go back to playing fingers. So, and then the 5th one, I don't know. Less Than Jake, Hello Rockview. It's a punk ska record. Probably my favorite of theirs. It's an album that like I don't even need to listen to it. I can press play up here and hear the whole damn thing, all the words. Like, yeah, it's great.
Awesome.
Less Than Jake, Hello Rockview.
Awesome. Where can people find you on online?
So yeah, youtube.com/Jayme Lewis. That's where the YouTube channel is. Instagram @Jayme Lewis. Twitch. This one I'm kind of depressed on. It's twitch.tv/Jayme Lewis the bassist. And the reason why is because Jayme Lewis was taken, and so was the bassist, and I think I own both of them. I'm pretty sure I signed up for Twitch multiple times over the years, but just never got around to it.
Yeah.
And who would have Jayme Lewis and the bassist? I think it was the same thing. And I think I just forgot the emails and the passwords. so like I had to make up another one. I had to put it. So it's really long. But if you just go on Twitch and you search my name, that's where I am most of the time, is on Twitch. And then the podcast gets uploaded on the YouTube channel. And then I have a lessons website called thebassist.net. There's way too many bass lessons, hundreds of them, maybe close to 1,000. I don't know. But yeah, so that's pretty much where I'm at on the internet these days.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you guys for watching and listening as well. Check out Jayme's stuff. He's amazing. He's an awesome bass player, awesome human being as well. I've learned a lot.
You're far too kind, but thank you.
So thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next one. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the podcast. For me, it was definitely cool finally talking to Jayme after watching his videos, lessons, and listening to his podcast for many years. Don't forget to check out Jayme's work on Instagram @Jayme Lewis, his YouTube channel called The Bassist, his website called thebassist.net, his podcast called The Bassist Podcast, and also, like he mentioned, he streams regularly on Twitch. Thank you guys for watching and listening, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.